era for American cricket began in 2021.
There he goes into a dive! What a catch!
The rise of cricket was celebrated across the country. Now, with big wickets and even bigger hits, the stars of minor league cricket are back and better than ever.
Primus goes huge!
Don't miss the nation's largest league competing for the biggest prize in American cricket. The Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship returns June 25th.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
And as you know that on behalf
We would like to thank our sponsors, Stretch Lab. Stretch Lab offers one-on-one assisted stretching to help you recover from workout, decrease your stress, and increase your overall flexibility. They offer studies for all ages, bodies, and activity levels. From the office specific speed fit, the flexologists customize the program for you. Stop by their booth for more information, and you can also receive a demo stretch for free. That's awesome.
just made the line 4. And we remain undying. I request Mr. Raj Jamal to give away certificates. We'll start with Sujesh Pulikal. So I'll hand it over to Mr. Suraj Vishwanathan to take it forward and also go for commentary duties. Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
A warm welcome to everybody from the Wilson High Field in Santa Clara, California, where we have got the final regular season game of 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket presented by Sunoco. It's the defending champion and already crowned Western Division champion Silicon Valley Strikers facing off today against the Hollywood Master Blasters as we've got a cricket festival taking place at the ground here in Santa Clara. Again, a warm welcome to you. We've got our team on the camera work, on the controls, and here on the mic. We've got Bud Jadabans at the controls, Andrew Grindle on the camera work. My name's Joe Hickey, pleased to be with you, and we're going to allow Suhas Vedam to catch his breath as he is pulling double duty as the MC today, as well as one of the two here on the comms for the MLC Network and Willow.com. It's going to be Muhammad Irfan Jr. to take the ball first here for the Silicon Valley Strikers. We'll tell you a little bit about who's on the field for them, changes that we've got to the lineups, but that slingy delivery over the wicket from the right-hander is aimed at Abdulahad Malik, who will get things started, paired with Mrunal Patel for the Hollywood Master Blasters. The one change in the lineup compared to last week for Silicon Valley Strikers is that Rushil Ugarkar is not in the starting 11. In his place is Lendl Simmons, who I imagine here must be one of the wild cards in to replace the departures of Roshan Primus and Raymond Reefer. Irfan himself swapping back in with the departure of Raymond Reefer for the CPL. So we'll get our first look at Simmons here in a minor league cricket uniform. And Irfan so far starting off with a pair of dot deliveries to get this match underway. We'll catch you up in a little bit as well with the massive amount of developments in the playoff race. Just about everything now settled at this point. There have been some calculators working overtime over the course of the early portion of this final day of the regular season. A gorgeous delivery there. Had Malik in two minds, able to keep from making contact, and it just goes straight through to Jadiwala without incident. So now that we do have him back and available, Suhas Vedam joining us today here on the comms, and happy to have you again. I believe it's something like a 7-match streak to finish off the season here in the Bay Area. Glad to have you.
Good afternoon, Joe, and 7 matches have been fantastic indeed alongside you. Good afternoon, everyone watching. Mohammad Irfan Jr. at his best yet again. We've talked about that slingy action and generating that extra bounce, but here it's the lack of it which will trouble the batter.
Indeed, we saw quite a bit yesterday. The odd ball that just stayed down and skidded underneath the bat or caught bottom edges. It's actually how Abdullah Had Malik was dismissed yesterday, was a ball that stayed down just a little further than or a little more than he expected. Took a swing to try to carve it over the man in the covers, and instead chopped it right onto his stumps. So far, 4 dot balls to begin, and that is straight back to Irfan, and it's a caught and bowled. The opener dismissed without a run, 5 balls in.
Mohammad Irfan does what was asked of him. Provide the early wicket, make inroads early, and ensure that your team is always on the top.
In a match that largely is going to be for posterity here. As we said, not a ton on the line today for the Silicon Valley Strikers. They are already set to host next weekend, rather.
The week does fly by, isn't it, when you're living from game to game?
Too excited. So excited about that. We now do know who they will be taking on next weekend. It took until the final match in the Central Division to make that decision official, but Michigan Cricket Stars today unable to get it done twice in a row against Dallas. Yesterday, they picked up a win with a late flurry and were able to push that to the final match. They would have had the net run rate advantage if they could have leveled the Tigers in the standings, but they fall today by 8 wickets with 6 overs to spare. Mustangs just in dominant form and basically showing what they'll be bringing to the action next week when they host as well in the playoffs.
Irfan Jr. is suggesting, well, I'm trying my best to bounce the batter out as well. I am putting that extra effort to make sure that the ball bounces, but it isn't doing so on this surface. So he's got to change his plans. That's what cricket teaches you as well. You might come in with a set of skills and suddenly the surface has to tell you a different story altogether, and you adapt accordingly. The player who adapts better, the player who comes out on top. Irfan Jr. has already picked up a wicket and is all set to steam in for his next. He wants a slight change in the field as he's going to have a conventional fine leg, and that means it's going to be square leg up in the circle. He's foregoing the deep backward square. That means he's got to have a lot of confidence if he wants to bowl short again.
Final ball of the over. Excellent line on that. Cody Chetty facing his first delivery. Lets it fly by. It's a wicket maiden to start. None for one.
1, 2, 3.
No runs yet. 1 wicket already down. It'll be Kulvinder Singh coming from the Homestead end of the ground. Pace from both ends to get things started for the Silicon Valley Strikers. No real surprises there, Suhas.
Not at all, and they would have watched how this outfield is behaving as well, and would have said to themselves, Silicon Valley Strikers, let's have more paces here. At least start with Kulvinder Singh.
And against the left-hander, Mrunal Patel, deep protection down at third man is Muhammad Irfan Jr., a man relatively fleet of foot and with a whole lot of frame to put into a dive if absolutely necessary.
He's operating with a slip in place. Top of the bat to it was more of a jab and not a full flourish. Mrunal, a little tentative as any batter would be early on.
Certainly, Patel, his issue this season, the strike rate's been a little on the low side at 83, but it's plummeted to 69 inside the power play, so generally a bit circumspect early in his innings.
The reason for it is because his team batters are not clicking. And if they are not clicking, you've got to absorb more pressure up top. That's a fantastic Yorker. We've talked about the pace at which the Yorkers come in. What about the lack of it as well? Did well to dig it out, Mrunal.
Excellent start to the over for the man known as Paji to his teammates. I gather Hindi for Big Brother, something along those general lines, yes?
You're getting closer, of course. Just drop the effort with the P there, and you're there, right there.
Patel pushing this one to the man in the circle, Zahid Zakil, one of 2 men wearing number 22 today. Up with it.
There you go. The alliteration does the trick.
Actually seems like he should be wearing 22. It almost looks like his initials flipped around in a mirror. Master Blasters still in search of their first run as we've got a field change.
Dave Tadani has been asked to provide his services inside the circle now on the off.
Patel in the air. That is going to get down in front of the man at deep third man, Muhammad Irfan. Throw a little bit over Jadiwala, but no harm, no foul. Srini Raghavan on the backup.
It's been a quiet start for the Hollywood Master Blasters. I'm yet to find out a game where they did get to a blazing start. Yes, when Rohit Ramkumar was part of the side, he would sometimes go with a flurry of boundaries to start it off with. But Cody Chetty today, very early in the innings, will find himself in the middle. It's been one of the problems as well. The openers haven't clicked much for Hollywood Master Blasters, and that's been the story throughout the tournament for them. Cody Chetty as a skipper needs to absorb the pressure and bat through.
Yeah, Abdullah Had Malik, really the only one that's had success in the early part of the innings. He's been part of the lone 50 opening partnership they've had. Strike rate of 150 as Chetty flares that one over the men in the circle on the offside. That'll be the first boundary of the innings. 4 for the captain, and he's underway.
Too elegant. Cody Chetty just easing it into the gap, opening the face of the bat, and lovely wrists coming into play. Cody Chetty. The two kinds of players, one who hammers the ball, the other one who sort of relies on delicate touches. Cody Chetty's got a mix of both.
You had a chance yesterday in the post-game to chat with Cody Chetty about some of the difficulties that Hollywood have had this season. What did you glean from that chat, Suhas?
Cody Chetty, as a leader, has so much more to offer. What I realized that with the side, they still need to gel together. When things are not going your way, it's difficult to do so. But when you have a string of losses, it's important to understand your role. It's a replica of the previous shot. The fielder was placed inside the circle just for that shot, but Cody Chetty had enough elevation. He's scoring a lot of runs when he opens the face of the bat, and both those shots are very, very difficult to execute, Joe.
A couple of elegant drives elegant cut shots, rather, to finish off that over. A pair of 4s. Hollywood underway, 9 for 1. and strikers. That one off the underside of the bat. That bottom edge could have gone anywhere. Lucky for them, just runs down to fine leg, and it's a single to start the over.
Mohammad Irfan Jr. is offered a field change, and the captain says, all right, we'll go ahead with it. The right-handed Cody Chetty, because he's gotten off to a good start with 2 back-to-back boundaries, the square leg drops back, and fine leg comes in. Just in case he plays one of his favorite shots, the swivel. Irfan Jr. will not make it easy for him, though. Very good delivery. There's extra venom on the ball when Irfan Jr. lets it go like that. That slingy action that we talk about is a little difficult to pick, and the ball does a bit after pitching too. It's a heavy ball he delivers.
Indeed, with the kind of pace that he has on offer there, any bit of deception that makes it hard to spot it, that ball's going to hurry up on you all of a sudden, and it gets very, very difficult to time.
So far, so good for Irfan Jr. Still, the slip is in place, looking for wickets here. Oh, that's guided in the gap again. That's guided beautifully. The outfield is his best friend at the moment. Cody Chetty is just increasing the elegance quotient, and this elegance quotient will just keep on increasing, I feel, if he continues to bat the way that he usually does. Risky as ever.
And now the question of, do you start to follow the ball? Because that's 3 boundaries he's hit to basically the same spot. Possibility of seeing some deep protection back there. Kulvinder Singh out at third man, now moving a little bit wider, now returning a bit more fine. This one worked in on the body and flicked back towards backward square leg. Chetty thinking about a second. He'll turn it down though, just a single. Mrunal Patel now on strike. Hollywood's leader in 4s on the season, came into the week 35th in minor league cricket. Cody Chetty, very much underway so far, largely dealing in those boundaries.
Cody Chetty is providing the impetus that Hollywood Master Blasters require for a good total. And he's also picking and choosing the right balls. He's not hitting every single delivery away. Got to absorb the pressure. We've talked about that before. That slapped straight down the ground. A dive from Zakil would have reduced the pace on it, but still has enough Sunoco to reach the fence. Zakil retrieves. More problems for Mohammad Irfan Jr. No one, literally no one has slapped a ball straight back, because that came off the bat as quickly as it went off the hand of Mohammad Irfan Jr. It's very, very demoralizing for a bowler.
For Mrunal Patel, 14th 4 on the season.
What's Irfan's reply? A bouncer that the keeper wasn't in on. Sometimes the plan will backfire if the keeper doesn't know that it's a bouncer coming in. White ball signal too, because from Mrunal's height, he needed an elevator to get up there.
And not dealing with Abdullah Malik out there anymore.
Mohammad Irfan Jr. acknowledges the fact that bounced a lot more than he expected it to. That would have been wide had he been there with a bat in hand.
4 boundaries already here in the 3rd over for the Hollywood Master Blasters, and that's already about halfway to what they had over the entire innings yesterday. So a nice early sign for them if they can keep the partnership going.
I'm loving this contest between Mohammad Irfan Jr. and these 2 batters of Hollywood Master Blasters. We'll keep the chat alive. End of another successful over for Hollywood Master Blasters as they get a move on. 3 overs gone, 21 for 1.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Beautifully struck. A lot more work to do. Might die in pace a little bit. Still enough to come back for the third. Will they take the throw on? They've got to go back. 2 for the shot and none for the throw. The throw also arrived in installments, mind you. The Silicon Valley Strikers are enjoying the vibe over here with hundreds swarming in to support them. If this game has to be decided by decibel levels, there's one clear winner. They're playing at their home ground. Silicon Valley Strikers, perhaps in front of their home crowd. Let's just put it this way. The ground might be different. Oh, too much for Jariwala once again. And too much on the ball. It'll reach the fence. Lendl Simmons has a young fan to thank for that effort.
5th boundary earlier, and this one by way of Kulvinder Singh. That ball out of his hand past Jariwala and said, like Toyota, let's go places.
Rahul Jariwala has leapt to his full height in front of it. Is left to his full height on the right. Just not happening. Oh, this is well kept. This was dying down on him. Rahul Jariwala having his hands in the right position. We saw how Saidip Ganesh struggled on this kind of a track behind the wicket. Not as much in front of it. Yesterday was very fluent. But behind the wicket as a keeper with the gloves in hand, it was a little difficult for him to get to trust this pitch and trust the bounce. But once he did, effected a brilliant run out too. That was cracked off the bat. No stopping that. The crowd gets a gift of leather.
Early favorite for our Dafa News shot of the day, Munal Patel. Elegant, and it looked right, and it sounded right.
Oh. This is music to the ears of any cricketer, any batter in particular. Even the ball produces different sounds as it comes off the bat for different shots. This one hit the lower part of the bat as well, just by the decibel level since we're talking about it.
Yeah, that one looks like a ball that stayed down a little bit from Kulvinder Singh, and Patel able to make the adjustment and prevent catching an under edge onto the stumps or back to Jariwala.
And this is where you as a keeper are also confused whether you go slightly forward or stay back, because one ball is bouncing as much, one ball isn't, as a third man comes inside the circle.
Deep man now at point. This is in the air. Gary Graham circling under it, and he will make the catch.
Didn't read the lack of pace on the ball. Offered the shot a little early. Catch practice for Gary Graham. Support flowing in for Gary Graham as he is having a finger to recuperate with, but still has done a tremendous job by taking the catch and absorbing the pain.
Last weekend, we saw his Kurt Gibson moment as he came in after suffering the injury to his finger in the field and hit a few decisive runs in a win that helped clinch that Western Division title and the home playoff series for Silicon Valley Strikers. Here, able to take care of business the way he usually likes. Secures the catch, brings down wicket number 2. Even still, 10 off the over. That ends the 4th, 31 for 2.
Santa Clara Cricket Fest. And the kind of cricket that we are witnessing right now, absolutely magnificent to watch. Cody Chetty won the toss and decided to bat first. Little did he realize that 2 wickets would be pegged back with 31 on the board. Time for spin. So often, when Suri asks for the ball, inside those 6 overs, the captain says, wait a little bit more. We want the batters to attack you. So you need more protection. Today is decided to go within the power play yet again. He's done a good job so far.
Indeed, inside the power play, they haven't used him a ton. Just, yeah, well, 1 for 51 is... Oh, wait, actually, my apologies, not Surrey. We got Srini, apparently, with the ball in hand. Srinivas Raghavan, 20% of his overs.
Absolutely, my bad.
Yep.
It's Srinivas Raghavan. Hi, this is Srini. Ready to Suri.
No harm, no foul. Unfortunately for him, I've made him used to being misidentified. I think I called him Srinivas Mohan a couple of times because of the East Bay Blazers player of that name.
He's waiting on call to talk to you. Srinivas Raghavan starts off well. Got a lovely smooth action and that delivery that doesn't spin but skids on. Just a kitten's whisker away from the outside edge. And it is their main batter. As far as the Hollywood Master Blasters are concerned, the man in form, the man looking fluent. Inside out. And there is something about this man's wrists. It's pure magic. He makes this shot look so easy. Slightly pitched up. Cody Chetty doesn't miss out on it.
Chetty continuing to deal largely in boundaries here. That's his fourth already of this innings. Ups his total to 30 of them on the season, just the 1-6. Generally speaking, Hollywood haven't had a lot of power to speak of. There are actually 4 batters coming into this week in minor league cricket that themselves have more sixes than the entire Hollywood Master Blasters team. Srini with a good comeback after the boundary to Chetty.
Just change the pace altogether. He is not scared of slowing it down so that the batter misreads it. And so far, Srini would have realized that one of the wickets that the pacer took was because he reduced the pace on the ball. Maybe that is the way to go on this track. A couple of more overs unfolding. We will be letting you know what's the right pace to bowl at as well. I think for the moment, the slower you are, it's difficult to read. What do you feel, Joe?
So far, it seems to certainly be the case. Maybe even just a little bit of nerves, trying to come forward, trying to stay back on something that is taking its time getting to you. And Raghavan, somebody who's been economical no matter where you bowl him, 6.13 in the power play, 5 in the death, 6.73 overall. He manages to give up just the 5 in this one, the boundary and the single to finish. End of the 5th over, 36 for 2.
What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Yeah, this will in fact be his first power play over of the entire season. 22 overs plus a ball when he was brought in one match for his only ball to wicket number 10 and called that thing to a close. But he's bowled roughly 1 out of every 6 overs at the death, but never inside the power play. Usually a middle overs introduction.
Absolutely, because he's a skiddy customer. He bowls a heavy ball. Dev Tadani looks very lanky, but he can deliver a lot of power and pace behind that ball. And especially when someone like Jadibala is standing up to the stumps, not on this occasion though, then he could be a handful here. Dev Tadani for the first time inside the power play. Really hope it's been communicated to him that you would be a power play bowler. First ball. This one didn't bounce as much. Cody Chetty somehow whips it away. I think he's used as much of the wrists today in this little innings as much as the bat. This one didn't have any contact with the bat nonetheless.
Yeah, trying to help that one around the corner. He ducked out of the way, might have actually gone as a wide. He'll get the run either way. Ravi Timbawala on strike now. This will be the first ball he's faced as Chetty was at the crease for every ball of Srini's over just 1 over ago.
Sometimes that could be the best thing to happen to you as a batter who's just walked in, because you get to feel from the best place possible, that is the non-striker's end, how the wicket is behaving. Let's see if that would be of any help. Ravi Timbawala, first ball, works it away on the leg side. 2 deliveries, both of them have been a muffled appeal. Waiting for the umpire's signal once again. Dev Tadani, 2 times that he rolls his arm over in this over. Not a single run conceded off the bat.
I think a little bit of laughter as well in the outfield. It looked like Pranay Suri didn't come in to field that ball, having misidentified just in a moment of peak the umpire as a potential fielder. It's laughing with Shahan Jayasuriya as they came together and say, "My mistake." So far, a pair of leg byes to start over number 6. Tadani continues to work in on the body. And again, it's just barely worked away, perhaps with pad more than bat. Hints of an overthrow there as Chand flicked it towards the stumps, but there's the backup.
So that was off the bat.
Actually, at least according to Crick Clubs, a third leg by on the trot. Timbawala back on strike. Adani has 3 runs against him here, but officially none of them count against him. That's off the bat and shot right through. No, excuse me. Snagged by Gary Graham. Wow.
Gary diving towards his right, exposing his pinky finger once again. He gives his 100%, and you could see shouts of Gary, Gary. And those little kids forming a choir for Gary. He's earning a lot of fans, and of course, he's been coaching the kids as well for a long time. Always tells them to be attacking today. Leading from the front, the coach. A beautiful shot on the leg side this time. This is what happens when you offer a little bit of bat to it. It'll race away to the fence.
This over so far, a lot of that body line bowling, unable to get anything to it. That's not the right word. You're right. Yeah. That has some connotations. I'm aware.
Absolutely, yes. I've been targeting the legs for a while, and it is very audacious of Dev Tadani to be doing that with fine leg inside the circle.
Only finally made to pay for it on that last delivery. Timbawala works that in again. Gary Graham, solid in the field.
He saved a certain boundary there and saved Dev Tadani's figures as well. For the first time, he rolls his arm over in the power play. The power play restrictions of the first one would be lifted. 6 overs gone, 43 for 2.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
The commentator is saying, no, that's wrong.
Srini Raghavan will continue from the commentary end of the ground. Timbawala at the non-striker's end so far with 4 off 4, a boundary last over. Cody Chetty 18 off 15. He's gotten to the boundary rope 4 times.
Slightly flighted, but still well within the reach of Shehan Jayasuriya, posted at a very wide long off. Cody Chetty is moving to the singles as well now. Ravi Timbawala, he needs to get going quickly to earn the trust of Cody Chetty that on this given day, this is the partnership which will make the best difference. Because Cody Chetty can tee off any time. So he's shown this in the past as well. Many a time in South Africa. Playing for the Dolphins too, that he can change gears very quickly. And for someone who's already started off in 3rd gear today, it would be easier to get back into the 3rd gear once this partnership starts to bloom and he earns the trust of Ravi Timbawala. That the bat is speaking. This would do a world of good. Elegant and effortless from Timbawala.
Cut away beautifully, splits the defenders here. Adani and Jayasuriya at the boundary rope. Back behind on the offside, and Timbawala underway, 2 boundaries to account for his first 8 runs. Chetty last season was the 10th leading scorer in minor league cricket. Absolutely kept Hollywood Master Blasters in a number of games that otherwise might have gotten away from them. And we mentioned before, one of the most surprising results of the whole season last year was Hollywood upending these Silicon Valley Strikers. That one's going to bring out an appeal. Umpire has none of it. Throw down to the non-striker's end. Does not find Timber. And Timbawala survives.
What that quick single has done is he's stopped Srinivas Raghavan that they're looking for all denominations at this spot. If the ball's there to be hit, he's driving through it. And otherwise, tap and run is also on the cards. That means the field is inside the 30-yard circle. They've got to stand at least 4-5 yards inside to stop the single. Not on this occasion. A lot of real estate in front of the wicket. They're quite content here, Unmukh Chand and co, to be allowing that easy single straight down the ground because it's easier to hit with a bat face open. So straighter single is always preferred as the risk factor reduces for the batter.
That's sort of been the issue all season for Hollywood, is taking the risky shots, looking for boundaries that aren't there, and not being willing to take those. That worked back, and a chance back at Jadiwala's end as Kulvinder Singh did well, ranging to his left to cut off that ball and gun it in.
Great stop. It was a 50-50 chance. Had he not had his hands in the right position, would have raced away to the fence, because that's how quickly it came off the bat. Srinivas Raghavan, he's got to thank Kulvinder Singh for that. They're getting the support there, the bowlers of Silicon Valley Strikers. They're getting the support. First it was Gary Graham, now Kulvinder Singh. Change in field as Srinivas Raghavan wants a deep mid-wicket. So a single is easily on offer on the leg side if he just works it away. No one inside the 30-yard circle on the leg side. Perhaps now the fine leg is inside the circle. Almost compensated for that fantastic dive, but he saved 4.
Elected to try to go to the offside there. A bit of a misfield, but they don't run on it. That'll take care of things for the over. 7 off of it. 50 for 2.
1, 2, 3.
And get ready for playoff action next week. And those playoff positions just about settled. The only thing still in doubt is the Southeast Division. We don't know whether it'll be Morrisville or the Atlanta Fire finishing first, but we do know those two will be participating. Here's another ball shot down to Gary Graham, and again, the sure hands.
The bucket-like hands of Gary Graham. The bucket had a little dent on his birthday.
Yeah, sprung a little bit of a leak.
Today spoke to him about that finger. He's still unable to move it to the best way possible. He was unable to move it the usual way. The finger slightly bent, but still it's able to catch that leather so very well. It's coming to him with great ferocity, mind you. This is mind over matter. He is a man who's very strong mentally.
Absolutely. He told us in the innings break that as that one is shot in the direction of Zahid Zakhail in the inner circle, unable to handle the tricky bounce. Bit of a misfield out in the outfield. That's going to provide the opportunity for a second run to be taken.
Very rare. A misfield today from the Silicon Valley Strikers, who have brought their A game to the table. It's very rare indeed.
And Unmukt Chand, ever the leader, says, you know what, I'll go ahead and take that spot where they keep firing the ball. Move Zakhail instead over to mid-off.
Sometimes I feel what it does to the confidence of the fielder, but Zakhail, being a complete professional, wouldn't mind that at all. It's also because Unmukt Chand is there, not because Zakhail's misfielding. Unmukt Chand is there because he's fielded there many a time in his lifetime, so he knows the angle at which it comes to him. You have to get used to the angle of the bat as well. When the bat face opens suddenly, that is exactly why you have specialists at point and specialists at slips.
I think there's something to it as well. Him putting himself in that spot. It's more of a, I'm going to put myself in the firing line. Less, it's going to feel that way at least more to Zakhail. If you replace him with someone different, maybe it feels a bit more like a penalty. Chand charging that tap from Timbawala. Everybody headed back to their crease. That'll be a dot ball for Thadani.
He's bowling really well, and what that over inside the power play with more protection. Now I think he will have more confidence. He's drawn confidence from the previous over for sure. One poor delivery, of course, and that was dispatched. Thadani is learning very quickly. And it sort of helps for Dev Thadani. It sort of helps that he has his coach as well on the field. Gary Graham.
Again, that combination of youth and experience, so vital and so characteristic of minor league cricket. We'll be talking a little bit more today about some of the exciting young players.
Cody Shetty realizes that the game was slowed down a little. That's because a fantastic stop has saved a boundary of Timbawala's bat not too long ago. They're relying on singles and twos because, again, it's a skiddy customer. Won't be surprised if he has to dance down the track to access the gap better. Stays put and cuts it. Why does he need to dance down when he knows the gaps like the back of his hand? Fantastic shot by Cody Chetty. Wrists like magic yet again.
And continues to pepper that specific region of the field, more or less where he shot those first 3 boundaries in the opening 2 or 3 overs today. 5 fours for him so far. He moves to 27. End of the 8th over, 58 for 2.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Ninth over, and now Pranay Suri into the attack. Continuing with spin from the commentary end, we've had 2 overs of Srini Raghavan go for 12 runs total. And now Pranay Suri, who's looking to break a wicketless streak, was so very impressive in the middle part of this season. Managed to rack up 11 wickets in just 2 matches. First delivery off of his bowling is looped to Dev Thadani. A single to start.
Hollywood Master Blasters throughout season, most of the times they didn't have the services of Nisarg Patel, and yes, of course, he would be talking to them between the games over a video call, tell them what to do better. Despite that, the spinners, I really believe, could have stepped up. As far as the bat in hand is concerned, Cody Chetty. Now, if you look at the entire season, he's getting starts but not converting. Today would want to believe it's going to change. The story is going to change. A shot of this kind will help a bit. Absolutely sure that he didn't want to give 100% into it. Had he, the long on fielder was waiting to pouch it.
And talking about some of Chetty's starts early in the season, a 20 against the Silicon Valley Strikers before he was, in fact, dismissed by Pranay Suri. The delivery to Ravi Timbawala. He's danced down the track, and Rahul Jariwala has whipped off the bails. Pranay Suri's 3-match streak without a wicket has come to an end, and it's 3 down here for the Hollywood Master Blasters.
Didn't need to do that at all, Ravi. Absolutely clueless. Why did he have to play that shot in the first place? Reason being, there was a fielder lurking behind, and the situation is in such where they are targeting a big score. They're looking to mend the innings together, and there couldn't have been a better time to stick around with the skipper to provide the partnership which will form the base to a respectable total. Back goes Ravi Timbawala. Important wicket for Silicon Valley Strikers.
And for Rahul Jariwala, his 18th dismissal of the season. He leads everybody in the Pacific Conference on that stat. 4th stumping. He came in tied for 8th there as well. Has been one of the standout wicket keepers this season. Has been back there for every ball of the year. We've seen him do a little bit of opening in the batting, a little bit of further down the order batting, but has been an absolute constant out there. Chirpy and always alert, always ready for an opportunity to pounce like that, Suhas.
Sometimes I feel, with the way cricket is going, chirpy is going to be one of the things that you need to be as a keeper. Imagine getting selected to be a keeper and then your vocal cords are also tested in the process. I really hope the choirs are also listening to you. Or as a keeper, you just got to add the tuning fork as well in your cricket kit. Very chirpy indeed. Rahul Jariwala doesn't let the batter get settled mentally. And what I like about Rahul Jariwala is, imagine missing out of a big tournament and suddenly realizing that the keeper hasn't made it to the under-19s. You got to be the keeper now. Coming ready, even though he had to be there in a moment's notice, scoring 2 centuries in 4 games, cementing his place. That is Rahul Jariwala's story, the comeback man.
Quite a lot of story written about him already at the tender age of 18. Pranay Suri coming at Cody Chetty, that one drifting towards the tram line, but stays within it. In the meanwhile, Karan Varadia off the mark on the prior delivery with a single.
Karan Varadia has got to play longer innings as well. It's not going to be a flash in the pan, and that's what Cody Chetty would be praying. Not quite sure if Ravi Timbawala was looking to be aggressive early on in the over just to put more pressure on Pranay Suri, but what he's done so in the process is put more pressure on his own side Karan Viradia has always been given a difficult script to play out, and today Karan Viradia finds himself in the middle once again with the loss of Ravi Timbawala's wicket. 63 for 3 after 9.
1, 2, 3.
'63 for 3, nearing the halfway point of the first innings. Hollywood Master Blasters with a decent platform, though they have now recently had the departure of Ravi Timbawala. Wasn't going at a terribly high rate, though. They'll hope that maybe Karan Viradia can get himself quickly settled and provide a little bit more of the impetus to partner Cody Chetty. First delivery to Chetty of this over, past a diving man in the covers, and that is going to head to the boundary for 4.
Cody Chetty is doing a Sami Aslam. Just loves the area behind the wicket. Now we have a right-hander doing the same thing. It's such a treat to watch. One of the reasons that we love covering cricket at this level in the 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. You know you're going to be treated with cricket at its best. Dave Tadani providing minimal room, enough for Cody Chetty to work around and get a boundary. He's done it again. The face of the bat turns. Just opening the face of the bat straight to Unmukh Chand this time around, who was ready to dive on either side in case the ball streaks past him. Cody Chetty, some of the shots that he hit today, especially on the up, such a treat to watch, and all those shots got him a single. And then he creates room, plonks his front foot outside the line, hits it behind square for 4. That's what gets him more runs.
5 so far off the first 3.
Got to say that of all the cricketers who've come out to bat in yellow today, Cody Chetty has been the one who's applied himself the best. He's understood and adapted to the conditions out there. It's not an easy track to bat on, especially when the spinners are in position. So very, very quizzical that Ravi Timbawala went for that shot at that point of time. Karan Viradia comes with a ton of experience. A name back in India that people can never forget. Played for Gujarat right from his under 15s to under 25. Karan Viradia touring the length and breadth of the country. As he sees this clay and realizes this is similar to the one that we play in Bengaluru at. It's important that this wicket also doesn't disintegrate and the cracks don't appear. Just remains the same till the 20 overs. Accesses the gap better by dancing down the track. The second run, only one of them is running. Poor throw would mean only a single. It is and not a run out. Just at the right time, Cody Chetty realizing to send his partner back. Otherwise, Karan Viradia would have been in deep, deep trouble.
Certainly one of the dangers with a newer man at the crease with you. We saw this a lot last season with the captain Sami Aslam for the Golden State Grizzlies, where early in his partner's innings, he had a tendency to get run out, and very nearly the same sort of miscommunication here. Viradia still looking to get settled. Comes Tadani with the last ball of the over, looking to find the gap. Long run for long off, and unable to field it cleanly. It'll just be the pair, as it did not make it to the boundary rope. And that will end the over, and we're going to take a moment here with our score is 72 for 3, and take a look at just the excellent atmosphere that we have here today. Suhas, you got to be right in the thick of it as the MC earlier before joining us on commentary today. What has been your feel for it?
100 swarming in with one thing on their mind, cricket. It is always a treat to experience that vibe, and hundreds, and along with them with the kids, ensuring that they are on top of their voices all the time to support their favorite cricketers, dreaming and bringing a lot of ambition to the table when they look at Unmukh Chand, when they look at Shehan Jayasuriya and say, this is where I want to be as well. I'd be rubbing shoulders with them outside the cricket field after this game ends, but that is what I aim to be there in the middle with them. Just such a treat to watch with kids looking at their stars with the gleaming eyes, and of course their parents who supported cricket throughout. A lot of cricket connoisseurs of across age groups have turned up to watch this beautiful game of cricket, and the festive atmosphere here with the music playing from Anil, the photographs clicking here and there, the flash that you see at times and you realize, oops, you're never too far away from a camera. And of course, the echo of these trees providing a thank you in reply because of that echo. It's such a beautiful atmosphere here at Santa Clara, the place that you want to be in. It is indeed a cricket fest. It is indeed a carnival.
Pranay Suri staying on to start the 11th over as we're into the second half of this first innings. A wide and a single to begin as that one is dragged to the onside. That'll be another single, but getting to your point as well regarding just the atmosphere here. It was a year ago this weekend, in fact, that we had the Indian Independence Day celebration at Morgan Hill. That was my first experience, in fact, the thing that got me out to a minor league cricket match. It was my first live cricket match, as that's in the air, just not going to carry to Kulvinder Singh and gets through the dive for 4.
Living dangerously now. Cody Chetty's peppering his favorite area all right, but this one was in the air, too much for his liking. Kulvinder Singh decided to go for the dive, put his body on the line, which is a treat to watch for any youngster because he realizes it might be a pacer who wants every part of that body to be working perfectly fine because he's got to run in for long hours, but it's still willing to put his body on the line. That is commitment at its best. Cody Chetty gets it in the gap this time. If Gary cannot get to it, it's been hit really well. The second line of defense, the sweeper picks it up and ensures it's only 2. But it's such a treat to watch indeed, with Cody Chetty being it at his best when he cuts the ball.
And with the prior boundary, Cody Chetty moving into the 40s, now 42, just 3 shy of his season high this season.
Something that you said just a while ago reminds me to wish the viewers a very happy Independence Day back in India.
Indeed, quite a celebration last season, and we're looking to duplicate it or even better it here as that ball worked to the outfield by Chetty. He's faced all but one of the deliveries here in this over and is producing.
Pranay Suri would have a close look at where exactly he pitched this one because it didn't bounce as much. Had Cody Chetty, who's offering the cross-batted stroke, gone for one which is pitched somewhere similar area, then would have been in deep trouble. Arun Viradia decided to go after it.
Final delivery of the over there for Pranay Suri ends with a dot, but does concede a few off of it. 82 for 3. 19 coming off the over. That's not right. The book 80 takes some bad note taking resulted in a mistake on that last closeout. It's 19 off the last 2 overs, 9 and then 10. But either way, 82 for 3 our score, and a far cry from the kind of Sunoco fueled net run rate drag race we've been treated to the last couple of days. Suhas, it came down at the end of yesterday's broadcast to saying that Seattle would need to chase down a total in something like 9 overs today. Golden State Grizzlies put up 110, generally shackled, not a whole lot in the way of big scores. Shivam Mishra getting into the 30s, but otherwise just a few single-digit and teens scores. And Seattle, tasked with getting there in 53 balls, took care of it in 42. And as a result, they are headed to the postseason and have pipped East Bay Blazers by net run rate.
Absolutely. And Seattle Thunderbolts imagining, I'm very sure they wouldn't have gone to sleep. They would have just prayed that they get some sleep. In their mind, only one thing would have been there to try and finish the game quickly tomorrow, and you never know who's going to win the toss as well. But all you know is that that net run rate needs to be befriended. Mind you, they did without Andres House going big.
Indeed.
That's another big talking factor.
Yeah, Andres House gone very, very early. It was just sort of a procession of different batters coming in and just trying to knock the cover off the ball. And so lost House early, Ryan Patan was absolutely outstanding as the other opener, and that was where they got their juice from. And it was actually the crazy thing about it was almost a foregone conclusion by the end of the fifth over that it was going to happen. By then they had 4 overs almost left, needed something like 30, and you looked at it and said, "There's just no way they're going to blow this from here," and got it done with ample room to spare. That one tapped just to the side of Rahul Jariwala.
It's one of the peculiar things that we as commentators do, just to let the viewers know. When we cover 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, we're covering a game of cricket. We're watching another alongside as well, just in between the over breaks to try and figure out. And then, of course, if you're Joe, you're also opening a separate tab and having a calculator struck to you and tapping away.
Yeah, the spreadsheet's absolutely throwing sparks today, but it's all settled. We'll give you a picture on the other side of this break of what that playoff, what those playoff matchups are going to look like. 4 off that over, 86 for 3.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
This should be catch practice. No, will not get there. Just takes it on the bounce. Lendl Simmons' sense of style as well, with which he pouched that ball. Lendl Simmons, just a half a second, thought of putting in the dive and then realized it was slightly out of reach. Very lucky to still be there. Karan Viradia didn't get a hold of it at all. Pranay Suri, that is the benefit of tossing it up as well at times. Cody Chetty goes for the big shot. This one will carry straight into the bucket-like hands of Kulvinder Singh. Cody Chetty's brilliant innings, an innings of substance, has come to an end as he departs for 45, and that involved 7 wonderful boundaries, almost all of them on the outside.
Cody Chetty with one of his better days of the season. In fact, equaling his 45 against the Chicago Blasters way back on the 4th of July weekend for his top performance of the season. Just a little shy of finishing off with a stylish 50.
Was caught on that occasion too.
Indeed, off the bowling of Pranay Suri. That time around, it was Muhammad Irfan Jr. that took care of it. So a little bit of history repeating itself.
Pranay Suri just sticking to his plans. Almost got rid of Viradia. Now wouldn't mind that single at all because he's picked up the big fish, Cody Chetty. Karan Viradia will have more pressure to deal with now that the captain's back in the pavilion. He's not only got to cultivate an innings but ensure that this innings comes to a good finish. The bowlers get a bolster to bowl at.
Indeed, at this point, Silicon Valley strikers looking for practice at exactly what they'll be looking to do next weekend against the Chicago Tigers, which is once you take wickets, start putting on the clamps. Try and make sure that 1 brings 2. Look for some dot ball pressure and try and get somebody feeling a little extra desperate when that much is on the line. Not quite the same stakes today, but an opportunity to at least get practice at that.
Absolutely, Joe, and that's one of the attributes of T20 cricket, isn't it? You don't make the batter make a mistake all the time. You just apply pressure with those dot balls. The pressure gets you the wickets.
And certainly the way we've seen, especially spin bowlers that don't necessarily get as much of their turn. It's about that discipline. It's keeping your line, keeping your length, hitting your spots, and skidding it on and waiting for the batter to get frustrated.
Absolutely, and the illusion of spin. We've talked about that, especially on a Santa Clara pitch. When you're a good turner of the ball and you come with some reputation, the ball doesn't turn as much. The illusion of spin is what gets the outside edge. It's not the extravagant spin. The extravagant spin gets the oohs and ahs when the ball beats the batter. But it's still out there. It's not a wicket, mind you. But it's that gentle spin which kisses the outside edge and goes into the hands of the keeper or the first slip.
Pair of dots on the heels of the wicket. Make it 3 dots.
Pranay Suri is also getting through the over very quickly. Unmukh Chand wouldn't mind this at all.
New batter trying to get off the mark is Venakalyan Madireddy.
Very well done, Joe.
He'll tap that to the offside. Kulvinder Singh up with it. It is a single to get off the mark. He will retain the strike as we finish up over number 13. Another wicket down, 88 for 4.
So we need to get 3 choices, and we have 2 staff and use left. Sonoko is 2, but we have another.
I
Yeah, I'm noted that. So there's.
Raghavan, a change of ends as he heads to the homestead end of the ground. First delivery to Madhya Reddy is a nice one, Suhas.
He's willing to slow it down. He's not scared of the frame of Venu Kalyan or the reputation to go over the top. He's slowing it down. There's a sense of calmness when Srinivas Raghavan leaves. It's the second time he's figured it out on this kind of a track. It's the slower that you ball, the more difficult it gets for the batter to time it.
It was a decent bit of what we saw from Angie Pereira to such great effect yesterday. And we were talking as well about the ability of a captain to read what the pitch might be doing on a given day. And we're seeing a similar solution here. A lot of spin.
Due to the doing of, it's a huge appeal, only Srinivas Raghavan believes. I tell you what, you talked about Angelo Pereira. He's been one of the best captains, of course. Unfortunately, we wouldn't be seeing him in this tournament due to the doing of what was a spectacular task up there in Seattle by the Seattle Thunderbolts. But other captains choose to take the spinners, choose to give an over or two to the spinners, choose to allow the spinners to bloom. And here is a captain who unleashes the spinners. Just looks at the track and says, all right, the spinners put their hands up. That sort of puts pressure, a lot more pressure on Nawaz Khan and the Pacers as well, because, you know, if you're not good at what you're doing, you'll be taken off the attack. The spinners will get the ball.
That one worked into the gap. They will take just the single. 3 so far off the over. 1 ball left from Raghavan's third.
Nice and slow, Srinivas Raghavan. This is the first time the batter used her feet to Srinivas Raghavan. Still not predictable. Once again, you know as a batter it's going to be slow. You're still calculating how slow. Didn't hit the best part of the bat. He's just looking at the bat as if it's misbehaved completely. End of the over. 14 overs gone. 91 for 4.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go Rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
He said a few that could remind me of home.
Rane Suri continues on. This will be his final over, and the first delivery just past the reach of Kulvinder Singh down at third man. That'll be a boundary.
A bit of football skills deployed. Kulvinder Singh doesn't get to it though. The ball nice and slow rolls away into the fence. That's the most irritating kind of a boundary for any fielder. Some of them are just streaking past you. Can't do anything about it. And then there's this one. Then there's this one which will tease you till the end. And eventually you realize you're not good enough on that occasion, but the ball has enough to reach the fence. Sunoco galore. The fuel that takes you further. Sunoco. And they've also fueled the best out of all the cricketers. The 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Slight change in field. Fine legs inside the circle. Square leg has dropped back. Pranesh Suri for the right-hander is realizing that he's going to target the mid-wicket region. Why not with the angle try and bowl outside off? Oh, this is very well done. He's kept it in the middle stump line and still the ball wasn't nurdled away on the leg side where there's a lot of real estate to cover for anybody to try and get to it. A gentle tap placed perfectly would mean at least 2 runs with 2 quick runners in the wicket, Joe.
Surrey putting on a clinic right now with the academy players here in attendance. That one worked through the gap on the offside. That'll be a single. Looking to keep this total in control, hoping for a chance to please the home fans, perhaps get folks home early if they can keep this manageable. But like we said, probably nothing quite like that 7-over chase that the Seattle Thunderbolts had. That's in the air, but will not carry to Shehan Jayasuriya. Just off the infield grass, it's a direct hit as the ball comes in towards Surrey. Doesn't bounce too far away, so no chance of running off an overthrow.
Patrick Rems politely inquiring Shehan, why didn't you dive? Shehan suggesting, do you mind borrowing my elbow grease? Shehan Jayasuriya, had he dived, then the medical kit would have been out right away.
Oh, without doubt, and certainly with next week's playoff series in full view at this point, don't want to be bringing up any unnecessary damage on a day like this. Single off the final ball of the over, 8 from it, 99 for 4. Beginning of the death overs, 15 gone, the 100 nearly up for Hollywood Master Blasters, and a new bowler into the attack. Second number 22 we've seen. It'll be Zahid Zakhail coming from the Homestead end, and he's been awfully effective the last couple times. Unmukt Chand has deigned to deploy him, Suhas.
Zakhail, especially against the East Bay Blazers, was tremendous to watch. The team required the wickets at the right time. East Bay Blazers were off to a great start. He was a partnership breaker. Picked to the wicket of David White as he tried to cut him, and there was lovely pair of hands at point to complete the catch.
And those matchups between the Blazers and the Silicon Valley Strikers we thought were going to be decisive in one way, as the first ball is worked off the pads for a single. Certainly looked up until this morning like the victory that was claimed by East Bay a few weeks back against Silicon Valley. The only loss they've had this season was going to be the difference in that playoff race, and instead we're left to look at the 2-run win. This one in the air, charging to try to make a catch, and it will not carry to Irfan at long off.
The longest stride ever recorded in Silicon Valley. Strikers cannot get there. You're calling it a catch?
The 100 up for the Hollywood Master Blasters. And I do mean up. That one was way up there.
Hollywood Master Blasters. Well, Hollywood Master Blasters would feel much better about their batting effort today compared to yesterday. Karan Viradia sweeping this one for a single. The difficult shots are granting less runs.
Bit of a slowdown since the departure of Cody Chetty. They did get 8 off the last over, but the others 2 and 3 as the spinners have had their way.
Didn't get it from the best part of the bat again. Zahid Zakhail has made the batter miscue the shots so many times now in this over.
Zakhail with 3 wickets in his 7 overs coming into action today. 8.86 the economy right now, though, dealing in singles and trying to avoid that odd boundary that'll swell that number up.
Zahid Zakhail. He's generated the top edge, but this would still fly, I feel. He does! Perhaps had just enough bat. Shehan Jayasuriya this time didn't have to dive in front for sure. Just waited and waited, but the ball grew on him.
Seemed to be one of those balls in the air that was almost exactly at you, such that it's a little tough to judge. Jayasuriya's first move was in, and then began backpedaling, and then rather rapidly, you could see, had given up on it.
Shehan Jayasuriya soon realized the boundary is fast approaching. Zahid Zakhail's economy, that's gone for a toss. Quiet single to end the over.
Indeed, 5 singles and the maximum off that over. 11 from it, 110 for 4.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस, इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Steaming in for the assignment, the death overs. Oh, gifts this one to the keeper, and a lovely pouch indeed. Very, very proactive there, Rahul Jariwala, who understood that the ball might be coming to him, but nobody.
And admittedly separated by about 11 overs, but Kulvinder Singh now on a hat trick. Had a wicket in his final delivery of the 4th, and now in his return to action from the commentary end, a wicket in his first delivery of this 17th.
There was so much premeditation in the shot that he totally forgot. It's just would have been better served had he gone straight down the ground. Venu Kalyan as well, someone who has the height to do so, would have smashed it straight down the ground. Not to be. In fact, he's gifted a catch to Rahul Jariwala, who was proactive as ever as soon as he saw the batter move away to try and execute a shot behind the batter.
In fact, with that, we don't yet have updates for Franklin Clement and Anthony Bramble this weekend, but that puts Rahul Jariwala to 19 dismissals on the season, with just a few overs left here in the fielding season, here at least in the regular season. And that would have tied Franklin Clement if he hasn't done anything else in the meanwhile. Hat-trick ball coming up here for Kulvinder Singh.
Not quite sure he knows that it's a hat-trick ball, to be very honest, because the field suggests that it's more about stopping the boundary rather than providing a hat-trick. But anyways, hat-trick ball for Kulvinder Singh. Is it going to be a yorker? Is it going to be a slow one? Didn't bounce as much though. Well negotiated.
The new batter at the crease, AJ Imadi, with the number 3 on his back. Haji with now 4 consecutive dot balls, dating back to his last over of work in the power play and continuing to be effective. That one, a bit of a full toss, slightly missed yorker, and worked away to the long offside.
Today is Kulvinder's favorite day, to be very honest. He saved the balls from going for fours. The full tosses are landing inside the 30-yard circle, only granting him a single and sometimes a wicket too. Kulvinder Singh can do no wrong today, it feels.
Maybe promote him up the batting order and get one of those fun performances we've seen from him in the past. You give him about 7 or 8 balls at the end of an innings to play with, and that can be a blast.
Talking about a blast, what is a blast of flavors as soon as... Well, that's a good shot. Work to do for Shehan Jayasuriya. Shehan Jayasuriya is trying his best to run full tilt so that he can avoid the dive. The throw is also as quick as it gets. Shehan Jayasuriya would be telling his captain, "You banished me to the desert."
With that, any hopping to avoid the Nelson can cease. Now 113 for 5 after the 2. 2 left here in this over. Kulvinder Singh over the wicket.
We can do it in the commentary box. Oh, this should be taken. Oh, what a catch! Unbelievable catch indeed. Sticks his head out and plucks it like a mango from a tree. Shehan Jayasuriya, you beauty. That was racing away to be a 6 any day of the week. But Shehan Jayasuriya has spring under his feet.
Off the bat, looked like it was going to be a regulation catch. Jayasuriya very slightly overrunning that, but the athleticism and the sticky palms to make sure that one nestles in. Kulvinder Singh has got his 3rd wicket of the day and 2nd of the over.
Kulvinder Singh's magic is being rubbed off to all the cricketers around him too. Oh, what a good catch. remember as kids when you're trying to pluck that low-hanging mango but still is outside your reach because you're kids at the end of the day. You do get one, and the astonishment with which you come down with a mango in hand, that is a childlike astonishment we saw from Shehan Jayasuriya. That is the reason you play cricket. It doesn't bore you. It teaches you so many things, and it gives you so much if you're willing to put in the yards in return.
And a long career at this point for Shehan Jayasuriya, so you know if it's surprising him, it's legitimately surprising.
Shehan Jayasuriya, we've been talking about him diving forward or no, dancing towards his left. We talk about boundary awareness. Oh, great athleticism from this man.
And this has been the way for Kulvinder Singh as well, just in terms of his stats all season. In the power play, he's economical, but not really much of a strike bowler. 2 for 140 so far on the season inside the power play. But that is his 9th wicket for just now a total of 95 runs at the death, an average just over 10.
When you're doing that for the captain and churning out figures of this kind, not this one though, this one is a wide. Kulvinder Singh also, just those rare moments where Kulvinder Singh realizes that today he might be mortal. Kulvinder Singh.
The only real dent in what has been a spectacular over. 4 runs from it, 2 wickets. Final ball here going across Imadi, looking for the edge but doesn't quite pick it up. That will do it for over number 17. 3 more left. Again, 2 wickets, 4 runs from it, 114 for 4.
The 17 overs gone, 114 for 6. Mohammad Irfan Jr. Mohammad Irfan Jr. has got 2 more overs up his sleeve. Absolute gold dust for Unmukt Chand. Delivers a perfect Yorker first up. And Kulvinder is perhaps smiling somewhere, saying it doesn't take a Yorker to pick up a wicket. Sometimes a full toss is equally effective. But what he's having a great day indeed, Kulvinder. And it's great to know that a man with a golden heart indeed and a lovely smile, Kulvinder Singh, a great character, is having a wonderful day in front of hundreds of people over here at the Fest of Santa Clara. At the same time, thousands watching this game as well.
A beloved man in this team and in this community. Especially last season, watching the feed from Morrisville, his performance in the final last year, you just can't help but smile when he's firing. Speaking of firing, AJ Amadi looking to put a charge into this. That's going to hang up and drop just between Thadani and Unmukt Chand over on the onside.
Back paddling there. Perhaps having a stare as well at the nearest fielder. Unmukt Chand thought it was the other's catch. This is what happens when you don't call. It's one of the reasons that kids at young age are taught to call as soon as the ball goes up in the air, because you're following the ball and you don't know whom you're barging into. It can happen in small pockets of space where the ball lands. We'll get that single this time. It's not coming for the best part of the bat once again, and the man with the slingy action, Mohammad Irfan Jr., is doing a great job by keeping it away from the batter. Timil Patel, if he gets anything in the arc, loves to throw his bat around it and try and score a lot of runs by opening the face of the bat as well. Loves pace on the ball. But if you drop that pace on the ball, Timil Patel will have to use its own power to manufacture the shots. Mohammad Irfan Jr. Beautiful shot indeed. We'll get a single, and a single will not pinch the strikers much, but this will. That extra run being conceded off a misfield will.
Yeah, good work there by Imadi to adjust to the pace off from Mohamed Irfan. As we talked about, that slinging action, providing just enough deception there that if you've geared up for the kind of pace he can deliver, pace off can be just devastating.
It's important to watch the hand of the bowler to the last moment. Try and gauge the pace. And I'll tell you what, with the kind of day Kulvinder Singh is having, Ajay Imadi doesn't mind facing Mohammad Irfan too. That's it beautifully. We'll get two more. The two shall be a little easier this time around. The throw is only halfway there where the batters complete the second run. Good proactive running from Ajay Imadi. His favourite areas have been plugged. Ajay Imadi is called for water. And there'll be a bottle of water and a lot of messages as well coming from the dugout. One of them would be about what would be a good total. At the end of the day, 121 at the moment with one ball to go to finish the 18th. Ajay Imadi will retain strike with that single. Timil Patel wanted the second run, but soon realized the throw was on its way already. End of the over with a quiet single. 1-2-2 for 6.
1, 2, 3.
How are you? Absolutely. But, you know.
Here in the first innings, 122 for 6. Hollywood Master Blasters, characteristically in the death overs, rather, it has tended to get kind of ugly for them. They've got the worst runs per wicket average in the Western Division for any phase here at the death. Just 9.9 runs per wicket and only 6.4 per over. But right now, managing to do some decent work. Besides the two that they lost quickly to Kulvinder Singh, have largely survived and have begun to put some runs up.
Talked about that crescendo finish. Perhaps that might be lacking a little, but to be very honest, if you juxtapose this performance with yesterday's, they've learned very quickly. And as we say that, Kulvinder Singh rattles the stumps, and someone who loves to dazzle is made the stumps do so.
Flashing lights just add a lovely bit of style to that, no doubt at all, especially when you don't have the stump mics to hear the death rattle. What a fantastic ball there from Kulvinder Singh. He's got 4 now on the day. And as we said, his fantastic afternoon continues.
Kulvinder Singh wouldn't put a foot wrong today. If one shall, that shall be the batter. Plonking his front foot across, going for that wild heave, missing the ball completely, but the ball doesn't miss the stumps. You miss, I hit.
So Silicon Valley looking to continue to restrict the run rate, keep this chase manageable and comfortable. We've already seen East Bay Blazers go to town on this wicket, so they'll be looking to do the same. You said Hollywood having a little bit easier of a way of it today. They were restricted to just 108 yesterday, a regular taking of wickets by the Blazers, keeping them from ever really getting off to any sort of flyer. Decent opening partnership. This one tap to the offside, a single to follow the Kulvinder Singh wicket.
Timil Patel, if he adds another dimension to his batting, which is just to use the pace of the ball and guide it to the fence, it just increases efficacy many folds, I believe.
Andrew Delawate, meanwhile, the new man at the crease, off the mark with a single.
Kulvinder Singh to Timil Patel. He's running the first one hard, but soon the efforts to run for the second will die down. Lendl Simmons is approaching the ball like it is an infant. Kulvinder Singh is quieting things down here. Not if you look at the decibel level just beyond the boundary rope with the carnival going on. That's slower delivery. It's one thing to have that in your kitty. It's quite another to execute that to perfection when the batter is expecting it the least.
And very close there. I think we heard the sound of it impacting the pads. Not quite in line, but a brief half-hearted appeal. Singh with 2 more deliveries to take a stab at adding his name to the Silicon Valley Strikers that have recorded 5-ers this season.
Is he targeting the base of the stumps then? Because he's followed it with a slower delivery, one that is back of a length. Receiving a lot of support. Oh, he wants to go for the shorter one. Puts bat to ball, doesn't have enough to reach the fence. That ball needs a lot of Sunoco, the fuel that takes you further. 2 comfortable runs by the time the throw is dispatched.
With that, Hollywood actually with the highest score we've seen this weekend in the Western Division. Admittedly, you have to imagine Seattle or East Bay might have gone past 127 had the match not concluded, but still, highest score we've seen, and a Yorker in at the feet, dug out there by Timil Patel. He'll deny Paji the opportunity at a 5 for today, a single to finish that over off.
End of another successful over, end of a sensational spell from Kulvinder Singh. 127 for 7 with 1 more over to go for.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your trousseau. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Six balls left in the Hollywood Master Blasters innings. Mohammad Irfan tasked with bowling them. First one pushed to the offside by Timil Patel. It'll be a single to start the 20th.
Starts off with a single's fine as far as Mukchand is concerned. Doesn't want the bowler to give away any boundary whatsoever. Wants to curtail the opponents under 135. He'll take that any day on a track which is assisting the batting conditions. Not so much, but still enough. If you're trying to hit through the line, it's okay. Just a certain spots where the ball's not bouncing as much. Got to make a mental note of it as a batter. As an opener, you've got to be wary of it, of course. Straight to Kulvinder Singh, who is a wall today.
Yeah, with the lone exception of that one that he tried the football skills with, he has been fantastic in the field and magic with the ball in hand.
I am walking up to Kulvinder Singh and asking him the lottery number after this game.
Story of this inning so far, after the early wicket of Malak, a pair of 30-run partnerships, managing to get the score up to 61 for 3. But since then, wickets falling at regular intervals. Timil Patel with this one in the air, that will not carry to the man at deep cover.
He's offered that ball an ice cream scoop, but did not give it all, and that's the reason it's still out there. Sometimes in cricket, you did not hit it too well, and that's the reason you're still there. Had you hit it too well, it should have been taken in the deep, because the fielder was positioned exactly for that shot. And when Timil Patel stands alongside Mohammad Irfan Jr., it reminds me so much of Great Khali and Rey Mysterio. And you know who's who.
Trying to think of the equivalent. I'm just getting a mental picture of that. What was the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, twins? Something along those lines. A big hoik from Andrew Dalawate goes for naught. 2 balls left here in the innings.
I tell you what, there's an entire crowd of about 200 people over here at the Santa Clara Cricket Ground, and then there's our producer, Bud. He can match the decibel levels of a crowd. That's how excited that he gets, especially, and provides the support to both the sides. This could be trouble. The second run was a hallucination. Timil Patel was running towards the other end, but he just put his head down and said, run, run, run. Little did he realize the damage has been done at the strikers. Good collect and a simple run out by Rahul Jariwala, who doesn't make a fuss of many things, let alone this one.
With just 1 ball remaining here, 132 for 8. Dalawate dismissed. Looks like we'll see Basant Regmi coming out to face the final delivery from Mohammad Irfan. How about that for a for a job assigned to you. Walk out there, deal with one ball coming from a giant at high speed, and then go back to the pavilion afterwards.
And you're just praying that you don't get hurt as well, because your main services with a ball in hand would be required. You want to be 100% for that, especially when the target is 1-3-1 on a track, which is assisting batting a bit as well. You will be a handful. As a spinner, he was the best, I thought, yesterday for Hollywood Master Blasters. Today, his services would be very, very important if they have to make a game out of this one as well, with about 131 on the board, Joe.
Well, and especially given what Silicon Valley have done all season, specifically in the middle overs. That has been their sweet spot. They hardly ever lose wickets there. And Basant Regmi has been an expert at curtailing the run rate there, picking up the odd wicket. They probably would love it if he got a few more, but he has definitely been a valuable part of their attack as they've tried to defend small totals in the past.
Final delivery. Big swing and a miss. Wants that run, but the fielder wasn't. Would you believe it? Rahul Jariwala gets it. It's right on the stumps. And Basant Regmi was sold a dummy. It was a final delivery. They've got to go for that run. Every run counts.
So the question I have for you then, does that officially go down as run out or stumped?
Run out, of course.
Okay, I'm just wondering here with it being the wicket keeper taking the bails off that way. I was curious.
He wasn't dancing down the track. He was going for a run.
So
you ask Basant Regmi, you would say, it doesn't really matter. Put it at whatever you want it to be.
Just let me get ready to bowl now.
Yes.
So 132 for 9, the final figures here for the Hollywood Master Blasters. The total will be to chase will be set at 133. We'll take a look down here through the scorecard just to review the innings. As we said, first 3 partnerships after Malik went before a run had been scored, each for about 30 runs. But then the wickets falling at regular intervals. They lose their last 5 at 110, 113, 122, 132, and 132 again. Obviously, the star of the innings, Cody Chetty, 45 off 36.
Yes.
Classy stuff for his high score of the season.
Held the innings together and played some beautiful shots through the point region and then the cover region to get to that 45. It was looking very elegant, very sophisticated in his batting today. Nothing scratchy, barring that one shot which landed in the hands of Kulbinder Singh, ending his stay in the middle. So far, it's been a good innings for Hollywood Master Blaster. It's been long coming for them. 132 is something they'll take against the Silicon Valley Strikers, with the pitch showing some demons to be explored. 133 would be the magical number. Let's have a look at the reply of Silicon Valley Strikers in 10 minutes' time.
And of course, before that, the highlights of our first innings. We'll see you very soon. We've got our team on the camera work, on the controls, and here on the mic, we've got Bud Jadabans at the controls, Andrew Grindle on the camera work. My name's Joe Hickey, pleased to be with you, and we're going to allow Suhas Vedam to catch his breath as he is pulling double duty as the MC today, as well as one of the two here on the comms for the MLC Network and Willow.com. It's going to be Muhammad Irfan Jr. to take the ball first here for the Silicon Valley Strikers. We'll tell you a little bit about who's on the field for them, changes that we've got to the lineups, but that slingy delivery over the wicket from the right-hander is aimed at Abdullah Haddad, chopped it right onto his stumps. So far, 4 dot balls to begin, and that is straight back to Irfan, and it's a caught and bowled. The opener, opening partnership they've had. Strike rate of 150 as Chetty flares that one over the men in the circle on the offside. That'll be the first boundary of the innings. Or for the captain, and he's underway.
But when you have a string of losses, it's important to understand your role. It's a replica of the previous shot. The fielder was placed inside the circle just for that shot, but Cody Chetty had enough elevation. Still, the slip is in place, looking for wickets here. Oh, that's guided in the gap again. That's guided beautifully. The outfield is his best friend at the moment. Cody Chetty is just increasing the elegant quotient. Got to absorb the pressure. We've talked about that before. That slapped straight down the ground. A dive from Zakil would have reduced the pace on it, but still has enough Sunoko to reach the fence. Zakil retrieves. Valley Strikers, perhaps in front of their home crowd, let's just put it this way, the ground might be different. Oh, too much for Jariwala once again, and too much on the ball. It'll reach the fence. Lendl Simmons has a young fan to thank for that effort. Now two. That was cracked off the bat. No stopping that. The crowd gets a gift of leather.
Early favorite for our
The
Dauphin.
third man comes inside the circle.
Deep man now at point. This is in the air. Gary Graham circling under it, and he will make the catch.
Didn't read the lack of pace on the ball. Offered the shot a little early. Catch practice. A concern. The man in form. The man looking fluent. Inside out. And there is something about this man's wrists. It's pure magic. He makes this shot look so easy. Attacking today. Leading from the front. The coach. A beautiful shot on the leg side this time. This is what happens when you offer a little bit of bat to it. It'll race away to the fence.
This over so far, a lot of that body line.
Easier to get back into the third gear once this partnership starts to bloom and he earns the trust of Ravi Timbawala that the bat is speaking. This would do a world of good. Try to access the gap better. Stays put and cuts it. Why does he need to dance down when he knows the gaps like the back of his hand? Fantastic shot by Cody Chetty.
Is, in fact, dismissed by Pranay Suri. The delivery to Ravi Timbawala. He's danced down the track, and Rahul Jariwala has whipped off the bails. Pranay Suri's 3-match streak without a wicket has come to an end. Get himself quickly settled and provide a little bit more of the impetus to partner Cody Chetty. First delivery to Chetty of this over past a diving man in the covers. In fact, the thing that got me out to a minor league cricket match, it was my first live cricket match, as that's in the air, just not going to carry to Kulvinder Singh and gets through the dive for 4.
Times. Cody Chetty goes for the big shot. This one will carry straight into the bucket-like hands of Kulvinder Singh. He did a few, actually could remind me of home.
Pranay Suri continues on. This will be his final over, and the first delivery just past the reach of Kulvinder Singh down at third man. That'll be a boundary.
Zahid Zakil. He should have rated the top edge, but this would still fly, I feel. He does! Assignment, the death overs. Oh, gifts this one to the keeper, and a lovely pouch indeed. Very, very proactive there, Rahul Jariwala, who understood that the ball might be coming to him, but nobody.
Left here in this over. Kulvinder Singh over the wicket.
We can put it in the commentary box. Oh, this should be taken. Oh, what a catch! Unbelievable catch indeed. Sticks his head out and plucks it like a mango from a tree. Shehan Jayasuriya, you beauty. To be honest, if you juxtapose this performance with yesterday's, they've learned very quickly. And as we say that, Kulvinder Singh rattles the stumps. And someone who loves to dazzle is made the stumps do so. He can match the decibel levels of a crowd. That's how excited that he gets, especially, and provides a support to both the sides. This could be trouble. The second run was a hallucination. Dimil Patel was running towards the other.
In the past.
Final delivery. Big swing and a miss. Wants that run, but the fielder wasn't. Would you believe it? Rahul Jariwala gets it. It's right on the stumps. And Basant Regmi.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco. You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Chan, the captain, on strike. And Dayan Ranatunga up to the stumps there with the gloves on behind the wicket. Of course, power play overs here, just 2 men out in the deep. For the captain, Unmuk Chand, they are positioned at long off and at deep extra cover. Timil Patel with the second offering here. That'll be shot just outside the dive of Karan Bharadia inside the circle. Single for the captain, and Lendl Simmons back on strike. Simmons, we were starting to say, his international record, enviable, 31.6, the average with bat in ODIs, 27.4 in T20Is. Top scores of 91 not out in the T20 format, 122 in ODIs as he picks up another single here and continues to score runs for the Silicon Valley Strikers. Unmuk Chand again through the gap at the covers. And for the time being, Silicon Valley content rotating the strike. Patel, for his part, not very frequently used inside the power play, just 17% of his 35 overs this season in this part of the game. Has picked up a couple of wickets. It's his best economy during this phase of the game at 7.17, 8.17 overall. Final delivery of this second over. Lendl Simmons will look to open the face of the bat and cut that to long off. Another single, 4 from it. Silicon Valley Strikers, after a quick second, 10 for no loss.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
Third over, Silicon Valley Strikers 10 for no loss, and we are rejoined by man of many hats today, Suhas Vedam, taking care of MC duties, and then running roughly 40% of the way around the boundary to rejoin us here on comms. Glad to have you back.
I tell you what, it's quite a warm-up if you're going to do commentary for sure. But it's great fun, of course.
Will be Karan Bharadia continuing from the commentary end. Lendl Simmons under the sky blue Silicon Valley Strikers hat so far, exclusively facing spin. It's off to a decent start.
He's already cracked the boundary on the offside. This one straight to the fielder, Lendl Simmons. I remember watching his fluent 68 versus Chennai Super Kings when he turned up in blue once again for the Mumbai Indians. That was back in 2015. And that innings sort of showed the world Lendl Simmons is here to stay. It's good to see such caliber in 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship as well.
You name a high-profile league, he's been in it. Works that one neatly with the open bat. Just fine of Ravi Timbawala, and that'll run to the boundary for a 4. That is classy.
Lendl Simmons, someone who personifies power. On this occasion, just a deft touch would do. Wasn't a very bad ball, to be very honest. It's just that he's given him a little bit of room, and rest was manufactured by Simmons. And Lendl Simmons is someone who loves to use the angles so well. Just guiding the ball to the fence.
Maybe with the adjective you used, call it the defta-news shot of the day. Usually look for those power shots with the backlift more along those lines, but we can appreciate the softer touch as well. Gets the job done.
Karan Bharadia is not trying to hurry things here. It's good to see its experience coming to the fore. Slowing things down. But that's in the gap, and Lendl Simmons, save your legs. Whenever it's in the gap, it's destined to go for 4 because it was cracked off the bat.
Nearly a photocopy of the one he had to open his account in the first over. He's getting them any way that they'll come.
It's very difficult to be bowling in the first 6 to someone like Lendl Simmons, who's got all the shots in the book and will make you pay for it if you have That little margin of error creeping in. This one was slightly short, but was not bouncing as much. Still slaps it straight to the bowler by plonking his back foot very sturdily.
We've gone dot, four, dot, four, dot. What's this? Looks like it'll be a dot to finish things up. So just the 2 boundary shots, 8 runs off the over, 18 for no loss through 3.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस, इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
It's nice the level of confidence that can give you at the other end. Chand, a bit of a notoriously slow starter this season. Strike rate on the year is 136, but 116 inside the power play. Likes to make sure he's got his eye in before beginning to express himself a little bit more fluently.
Except for that game that you covered, Joe, against the Golden State Grizzlies.
Well, every now and again when the situation calls for it, admittedly, paired with somebody who he hadn't been batting with very much this season in Rahul Jadiwala. So maybe feeling the need without Zahid Zakhail there to take the initiative, maybe feeling like it falls to him. Again, Lendl Simmons maybe more in that Zakhail mode. This one cut away and will just beat the man at deep cover for a boundary.
Yeah, beautifully put away indeed. Once again, just waiting for the right balls to be put away. Timil Patel knew he'd made a mistake as soon as he saw Chand getting ready for a big heave in that 2 towards the offside. The big backlift rather. You cannot bowl with that much width, especially in the first 6 overs now. Interspersed with poor deliveries is a good one, and that is a slight problem for Timil at the moment.
Spin bowlers this season have had a really hard time challenging Unmukt Chand. He scores pretty fluently against them, and he's only been dismissed once, giving him an average against spin this year of 185.
Will quite comfortably pick up a single, knows that he's got a boundary under his belt. Unmukt Chand looking confident as ever. A quiet end to the over. Silicon Valley Strikers. 4 overs gone, 23 for no loss.
1, 2, 3.
Four overs down, 23 for no loss. Silicon Valley Strikers going at about a run per ball. Be Mrunal Patel to come in from the commentary end. He was used to great effect yesterday. Had the 1 wicket that Hollywood managed to knock over against the East Bay Blazers, and just a little bit of a surprise, a little bit of somebody who you're not accustomed to seeing in the part-timer, and a decent bit of effectiveness. 1 for 12 yesterday in 2 overs.
I'm very surprised that he's been brought in at a time with still the power play 1. But it's the first power play, you're allowed only 2 men patrolling the boundary rope. That's in the air. Would this be taken? Almost was. That was a catch to be taken. Not the most fluent of movers when it comes to the fielding on the cricket field. Did generate that opportunity well. It's a catch gone begging of the big man Unmukt Chand.
Well, that will absolutely hurt for Hollywood Master Blasters. An early wicket is exactly what the doctor ordered, trying to protect a total just a little bit over a run a ball. They've restrained the run rate. They're putting a little pressure on. Obviously, a bit of release from the couple of boundaries that we've seen, but that an absolute let-off.
Slight change to the field. Now a man at cow corner, not a deep mid-wicket. Long off is in place. Timil Patel will ensure it's a single. Brunal is enjoying this additional responsibility. First, asked to open the batting. He's providing the runs, he's getting the starts. Now also bowling inside the power play. Very classy as he drives this one down the ground. Timil Patel would be kept busy once again. Both the batters have started to play the straight batted strokes as well.
We've seen the pushes, we've seen the cuts already to try to move some of the fielders around and maybe provide the gap for those pushes to work a little bit more effectively. Change in the field. It's going to be long on. Kalyan Marireddy moving out into the deep. Now protection on the onside inside the circle instead of out in the deep.
Catch it at the call. Will this be taken? Another opportunity gone begging. In the space of 6 balls, 2 opportunities created by Brunal, but none of them pouched. Would you believe it? That's been the bane with Hollywood Master Blasters. Silicon Valley Strikers with all their 10 wickets intact, 26 for no loss.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
First entry of pace into the attack for the Hollywood Master Blasters here in the final over with the fielding restrictions. Kalyan Marireddy will enter from the Homestead end. So far this season, 8.59 the economy. It's a little bit higher at 9 during the power play, where he's bowled about 1/3 of his overs. But he's not nearly the kind of strike bowler here that you generally see him as at the death. Of his 15 wickets this season, 11 of them at the death, only 3 here in the power play with roughly the same number of overs bowled. So right now looking to keep it tight, looking to keep this run rate under control and see if he can follow perhaps in the footsteps of Brunal Patel, who created 2 gilt-edged chances in the last over, Suhas.
Yeah, 2 opportunities gone begging. Hollywood Master Blasters is searching for any little opportunity, but they're letting them go down when it eventually does arrive. They've got to be better than this on the field. One of each man.
Indeed.
Simmons now will be expected to face pace, and pace is something he loves on the ball. Those swift hands of his. It reminds me of the same innings. Venu Kalyan on the far end, ready to steam in. Lendl Simmons. Lendl Simmons loves to go inside out. Would he do so on the first ball though? Nicely tapped away is written. 2 over it if he gets to it quickly. Excellent work by the fielder in the deep. Keeps it down to a single.
A lot of movement pre-delivery there in terms of making the decision of where to put Brunal Patel. He was a lot finer about 5 seconds before Kalyan Marireddy delivered that one. Moved a bit wider, and it gave him the opportunity to cut off that for just a single run.
Oh, that is hooked away in style. That'll sail away. No stopping that. And whosoever has parked their car there, they have a memorabilia from Unmukt Chand.
Yeah, I think when you get a U-Haul, there's some insurance associated with it,
Yeah.
so I think they're all right. They'll be okay there if there's a small dent with a seam impression on it afterwards. But Unmukt Chand, my goodness, turned on that one, saw a shorter length, saw it rising on him, and fired the pull shot faster than you can say 6.
I thought you were going for Jack Robinson. Faster than you can say Jack Robinson. But here is Unmukt Chand.
6 is only 1 syllable, so you can say it a lot faster.
This is what you like about Unmukt Chand. Slightly short and he'll pounce on it. That was pitched up and his front foot went right up there. It's not hanging or camping on the back foot, expecting another. Sometimes as a bowler, when you bowl the first ball to be a bouncer, let alone when you get it wrong and Unmukt Chand gets the better of you, when you bowl the first ball as a bouncer, you know as a batter that all the other deliveries to be hurled at you, it's not going to be a bouncer for sure. That's why a bouncer is supposedly used in the second or third ball. Oh, that's hit really well. Will go further away from Ronald's outstretched hands. Unmukt Chand didn't have it under control, but gets the result that he wanted the most. Silicon Valley strikers are getting a move on after being given a reprieve to each batter.
Unmukt Chand beginning the acceleration that has been typical of his middle overs, just a smidge early, taking advantage of just having the two out there and lifting a few without nearly as much concern for where they might land. Of course, one of them parking lot, the other one just past Runal Patel. Final ball of the over here to the captain on strike. Frees the hands, looks to pull this wide of the man at long on. AJ Amadi, it's a foot race to the boundary and he will not win. A 4 to finish off the frame.
Unmukt Chand has already developed a liking to pacers bowling at him. He's not getting it from the batter that he wants, not from the part of the bat that he wants. Again, a toe end, sometimes the blade, but he's getting the results that he wants. 6 overs gone, 42 for no loss. It's been a good first 6 overs for Silicon Valley strikers as the restrictions of the first power play will now be lifted.
Basant Regmi into the attack. These middle overs have been his playground. 2/3 of his overs this season bowled between overs number 7 and 15. And he's been awfully effective so far this season. An economy of 6.54 ranks him 37th in all of minor league cricket. And that was before getting batted around a little bit last week. He was in the top 20 prior to dealing with Sanjay Krishnamurthy for one over that did harm for everybody.
Oh, absolutely. Basant Regmi comes with a ton of experience having represented his country, Nepal. They call him Basant Dai with a lot of love.
11 wickets coming into action today.
Basant Regmi is someone who loves to slow things down. He's been a handful, especially in tracks like Los Angeles, Woodley Park. He was very effective in one of the games against San Diego Surf Riders and went for runs in the other. It's just that once he finds his mojo, he's a very difficult bowler to deal with, but never seems to be hurried. He's at his own pace. T20 might be flashbang cricket, but Basant Regmi brings the calm in T22.
That's kind of, I think, what was lacking in yesterday's game. Obviously, not a very big total to defend as that one just gets over the top of the fielder inside the circle, Karan Baradia.
Karan Baradia, before he could stretch his arm out, the ball had gone past him. Is it a Joe? Just that Basant Regmi has made the batter check his shot towards the end. He's dropping it and letting the pitch do the trick here. Just bowling it into the pitch. Basant Regmi. Oh, that's a very good shot, but straight to the fielder. Unmukt Chand wanting to borrow a leaf out of Lendl Simmons' book.
To your point, though, Suhas, about some of the performances he's had this season, 1 for 10 in 4 overs and 1 for 13 in 4 overs against SoCal in those two meetings, 1 for 11 against San Diego. as well as a 1 for 11 against the Seattle Thunderbolts, which is an impressive thing to do with the power that lineup has had all season.
He loves the Woodley Park, doesn't he? The Hollywood Master Blasters have relied a lot on him to pick up wickets, but what he's done is a containing job. It's good to know that, but he needs support from the other end as well for the team to prosper and pick up wickets. Today, of course, he's been found guilty of having dropped a catch which otherwise should have been taken. Now he's bowling at the same batter.
Cut away, and that will find Venakalyan Marireddy in the deep. Single off the final ball, 4 runs from that over.
It's a very tidy over indeed for Basant Regmi.
46 for no loss.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
'22 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. 46 for no loss in 7 overs. Silicon Valley Strikers off to a positive start. They did give a couple of opportunities to Hollywood Master Blasters, who seemed to have grasped it. And then Unmukh Chand teed off with a 6 of Kalyan's bowling. And then Venu Kalyan, when he dropped it even slightly short yet again, was able to punch one through the offside to get another boundary. Runal Patel gets a change of ends. Inside out, this could be taken only if the fielder in the deep were taller. Ravi Timbawala would watch it sail. No half measures when it comes to Unmukh Chand's big flourish of the bat. What a good shot for 6.
And Chand, who had just one boundary shot going into the 6th over, now here in the 8th, has had 4 of them in the last 3 overs, 2 6s, 2 4s. Certainly seems to have his eye in at this point and has targeted Mrunal Patel, looking to turn for the inventive shot and lucky not to get a piece of that and guide it into Ranatunga's gloves.
It's one of those moments when Unmukh Chand will talk to himself after attempting a shot of that kind. Just to gather some concentration. Unmukh Chand started this over once again with a 6. He's developing a lovely knack of starting the over with a 6, putting the bowler under pressure right away.
It does take the pressure off, and I mean, what Chand is seeing in that moment is that the ball is being delivered to him wide, and there is absolutely nobody behind him on the leg side. You've got square leg, you've got a short third man. There's a lot of room to try to deliver it there, and that's what he wanted out of that inventive shot. Another dot ball here.
Unmukh Chand has been very consistent the first half of the tournament. They just wanted to continue that run in the second half as well. But what was heartwarming to see that even if Unmukh Chand didn't score, which is not the case on this occasion, what a good shot! Again, full-fledged. And that flourish will ensure it lands beyond the boundary rope yet again. Ravi Timbawala has been fetching the ball, not fielding for a while.
First 6 brought up the 50. This one just simply brings up the spirits of the Santa Clara crowd. They have been in full voice.
Silicon Valley Strikers off to a dream start yet again when they're chasing 1-3-3. You expect a decent start. They've got more than that. With 59 in quick time, Joe.
Indeed, 13 off the over, courtesy of 2 long balls from Unmukh Chand. 59 for no loss, and he'll keep the strike as we go to the 9th. 8 overs gone, 59 for no loss. The 5th time this season that the strikers have had an
It takes a lot for someone like Basant Rigmi to get excited. Again, a very good delivery. He's trying the best to bowl into the pitch and let the surface take over. But Basant Rigmi. Slow but very effective. I saw the batter dance down the track, changed his length by pulling it back just a little bit. That's experience for you. Loves this cricket, Basant Rigmi, Joe.
the absolute cat and mouse game here, and 2 experienced campaigners at either end of the wicket. This is what you come out to see.
It's just quite a battle brewing. It's just that it's happening with a sense of silence in the middle as another quiet single is tapped away. Suddenly, even the crowd has gone to sleep. You can put an infant to sleep at the moment. It's a carnival. Basant Rigmi effect.
I think it's just simply the need to concentrate on what you're seeing at this moment. You know, when you've got art in front of you, you go to a museum, you don't necessarily get loud and rowdy.
If you do, that's the last exhibition or the last museum you're entering into.
They don't take kindly to that.
Yeah. Basant Rigmi brings a bit of test match flair in terms of the time. He just lets it be, much like Tarkovsky's movies.
Now, this is what I think the Master Blasters needed a little more of yesterday. They kind of let the pace of that match with the East Bay Blazers get away from them in the second innings.
Or is Cody Chetty saying, it's going to be the final game anyway for me. You can't find me now to sit me a match out, you know? Sit me out of a match. So let me be, let's take our own time. He's quietly taken another single, but I'll tell you what, a single would suffice at this stage for Unmukh Chand and Lendl Simmons as they realize Basant Rigmi is a little difficult to deal with on a track of this kind. 9 overs gone, 64 for no loss.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट में क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Timil Patel. And Timil Patel to Unmukh Chand, who's already gotten off to a great start. A new battle brewing. Lovely adjustment by Timil Patel as Unmukh Chand shows signs of shimmying down the track.
Indeed, the acceleration well and truly on for Chand. Early in the piece, it was Lendl Simmons dealing in the boundaries. Chand, though, now up to 42 off 34 balls.
That's got height. That's got distance. It's got all the ingredients if you're cooking up a 6. Longest of the day from Unmukh Chand's bat.
That is the reason that I parked a ways down on Homestead. Don't need to be in the arc of anything that's coming off the bat of Unmukh Chand. I at least felt a little safer today without David White potentially targeting it, but Chand can get it done too.
Now, that's the margin of error. Timil Patel's got protection in the deep, but all the fielders would be rendered redundant. Call for 2 here. Unmukh Chand is quick enough to turn for 2. Lendl Simmons decided to stay with a single. Now, Lendl Simmons is someone who can tee off any time as well. So he is a ticking time bomb as far as Hollywood Master Blasters are concerned.
Quite the fun partnership. Two batters that can easily change their plans of attack. Lendl Simmons into the pavilions. My goodness, you said ticking time bomb, Suhas. Boom.
What a good shot again. Just free swing of the bat. Plonks his front foot away, generates that space for the bat to come through, and when it does, the ball doesn't deserve to stay on the ground. Lendl Simmons, no half measures. Timul Patel getting delivered hits from both the batters. It's difficult to contain Silicon Valley strikers. They're off to a flying start indeed, making this target a 1-3-3 look minuscule.
Indeed, 78 now for no loss. One ball left here in the first half of the innings, and Unmuk Chand looking to, well, complete a little something. First, some surgery, some carpentry. Make sure that we've got our stumps in place and they aren't blinking anymore. Chand on 49. And that one worked to the onside and brings up the half century for the captain here on the stroke of the 10th over.
Oh, it's been a delicious half century indeed, much like Lakshmi's many products. Lakshmi House of Spices, 50 up for Unmuk Chand, very subdued celebrations. As he knows, the job is just half done at the halfway stage. 79 for no loss, the strikers. Reach the half century, let him know with the decibel levels. And they do, they make no mistake there. Unmuk Chand with the razor bat, acknowledging the crowd and thanking them in return, as they have been a wonderful audience indeed, and they've been treated with spectacular shots all around the ground.
Well, and that's his 6th time this season breaking the 50 mark, and that is the most for anybody in minor league cricket. In fact, everybody that's managed to do it 5 times is here in NorCal. Sammy Aslam of Golden State, Chand and Jayasuriya here, David White of East Bay. Very quality cricket up here in this area of the country.
Contrasting cricketers as well, as you mentioned.
Without doubt.
Unmuk Chand now relying on the touch, deft touches. That's where the experience comes into play. That's where the fitness comes into play as well. Unmuk Chand, one of the fittest in the side, if not the fittest.
As they push the total to 80 here, this now the 2nd highest opening stand in terms of score this season for Silicon Valley Strikers, only topped by the 101 not out when they chased down in that Golden State game. Chand and Jariwala getting that done without losing a wicket.
Jariwala's best bet was to pick up a single and watch Chand go bonkers. Oh, what a good shot this one is. Long on was just a spectator. That was bludgeoned straight down the ground.
Driven like a Toyota Tundra right into the Toyota sign as we hear the impact. Unmistakable impact of a Lendl Simmons on drive.
Basant Regmi's reply, much awaited by the fans around the world and Hollywood Master Blasters. This one kept a little low. As I said, he's just doing it the simple way. Basant Regmi, he's not trying anything new. He's not trying to experiment at all. He's just sticking to the basics and letting the pitch take over. For example, on that occasion, it didn't bounce as much. And the fact that it didn't bounce, the credit needs to go to the pitch and the surface spot on that occasion. Just that spot. It's very difficult for the batter. Look at this one as well. Gyan Ranatunga hardly collected it. It's very difficult when it's coming to your ankles.
Basant Regmi, like you said, very simple work here, not making it complicated. But besides that, Lendl Simmons 4 has been very tight. 4 from his first over, 5 from his second, 6 so far from this one. Just needs some help from the Homestead end.
He's dancing down the track, Unmuk Chand, just to show Basant Regmi that he will go after it if it's in the slot. Basant Regmi is not trying to bowl it wide or trying to change his plans, just keeping it wicket to wicket and simple. But yes, the field change, as expected, it will come by. Because he knows a boundary has been scored in this over, but he's been starving Unmuk Chand of the single that he so dearly wants. Now it's available if he hits it to long off as well without much risk. Basant Regmi, what's he going to do? Or will explore long on there, Unmuk Chand. Pick up a single, keep things quiet. 11 overs gone, 86 for no loss, Silicon Valley Strikers.
looking for solutions from the Homestead Road end of the ground. The last 3 overs from that end have gone for 15, 13, and 15. Basan Regmi, meanwhile, on the other side, has given up just 16 in those 3 overs in between from the commentary end combined. They can get a little bit of bowling from that end. They might be able to make this interesting. As it is, the run rate required very manageable, 5.22 with 9 overs left for the Silicon Valley Strikers to claim win number lucky 13.
Silicon Valley Strikers also have all their 10 wickets intact. The opening partnership of 86, it's knocked off most of the runs required, and that is a great sign for a side which is looking at glory yet again. They're the defending champions. Now coming into 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, they built a team for it. It's on the cusp of doing something special yet again. They're already in the playoffs, but this will give them a world of confidence, this new partnership too. Cheeky, but Unmukt Chand at his best will leave no part of the ground unexplored as kids scurry to get a piece of leather. They want to look at how this one feels. Yes, that ball will be passed around a bit before eventually it gets back to Cody Chetty. A lot of complaints from the other cricket fans that they didn't get a piece of it.
Now, we've had a gathering in the last over or so of academy kids in the area behind us, or as you might call it, a field change. Luckily, some folks to chase that one down as it skids across the grass. Expensive on the first ball here from Venakalyan Madireddy from that end.
Unmukt Chand is playing a shot perhaps the kids' coaches would not like, but the kids really wanting to play that shot again. That'll be another boundary to a new area. The kids have decided to run to that one. Cody Chetty is being helped by a lot of fielders, but the problem is they're outside the boundary rope at the moment.
Unmukt Chand, one of the few people that can really make it look as straightforward as hit it where they ain't.
I'll tell you what, he knows the field better than Cody Chetty at the moment because the shots that he played, he's trusting the bounce as well. Venukalyan Madireddy, every time he's gone for pace, he's been in trouble. Now taking the pace off, that's much better. There's that in the gap too. Good job there. Moving towards his left quickly, the fielder keeps it down to a single.
It was the youngsters Andrew Daluate and AJ Amadi converging on that one and able to close it off. Looked like Chand had found the gap yet again. On that one, that'll give Lendl Simmons a taste of the strike after Chand goes for 9 off the first 3.
Oh, didn't have to play this one at all. We'll just let it go, let the umpire take over. We'll stand like a scarecrow for a while. A run without a ball being counted. The best thing that Silicon Valley Strikers would have wanted.
And certainly something Hollywood cannot afford at this point. Need wickets and need to choke off this boundary faucet.
If this is the way Silicon Valley Strikers decide to hunt down targets, I'm very sure East Bay Blazers would be writing them a request note saying, can you give us some of your net run rate?
Or for that matter, could you have been the one up in Seattle facing off with the Thunderbolts this weekend?
Hello? Yeah, I've got Grizzlies on the line. They want to talk to you.
Tell them I'm busy.
Just one boundary and sort of deflates the confidence of the men in yellow. And I'll tell you what, Lendl Simmons, with a shot of this kind, no half measures yet again, will put it into the crowd. He's buried it into the crowd. Will take a while for that ball to be retrieved as everyone wants a piece of it. Doesn't really matter the age group, if it's kids or adults. You definitely want to get the touch of what that match ball feels like. But at the moment, it'll feel a little softer because it's been bludgeoned to all parts. Lendl Simmons need not be taught what to do against a side that turns up in yellow. He's done that in the IPL versus the CSK, especially when he's wearing blue too.
He's certainly making himself at home in minor league cricket and brings up the 100 partnership best opening stand of the season for the Silicon Valley Strikers. And it is just continuing to tick over. They'll look to take 2 off of this delivery easily home at the wicketkeeper's end.
Excellent running between the wickets. Young kids watching will learn a lot from this very innings from Lendl Simmons and Unmukt Chand. Not just the bigger boundaries they're scoring, but the running between the wickets has been excellent. 12 gone, 104 for no loss.
AJ Amadi in from the commentary end. They continue to look for solutions. Basant Regmi has used up 3 of his overs. They'll give him a break here. It'll be Unmuk Chand on strike, 104 not out as they look to creep up the leaderboard for top opening partnerships this season in minor league cricket. They're currently sitting at 8th place. Next up, they could bring themselves all the way up to the top 5 with 6 in this over if they can keep the wicket column unblemished.
The Silicon Valley Strikers, they were given a reprieve. As far as Unmuk Chand is concerned, they were given a reprieve. As far as Lendl Simmons goes as well, both of them have made the opponents pay. It's that phase of the game where singles, knocking off easy singles would do the trick. The target is not daunting at all. The target is a pebble's throw away as far as Lendl Simmons is concerned, who's already started to unfurl his big shots. He's walked out with a sledgehammer now.
And if there's one person that's somewhat relieved right now that he's not in need of runs to achieve the... Oh, we'll talk about that in a second. Wow! What a drive from Lendl Simmons.
That is the power of the torso. Just got such strong base that he can stand and deliver. The ball will fly. It's pinging off the bat.
Simmons moves to 48 with his third 6 of the encounter.
He's just looking to tell the world that Santa Clara Cricket Ground is just very minuscule. But I'll tell you what, it is not the smallest that we've seen. It is about 60 yards. Oh, that's gone. Goes for glory once again. Ajay Imadi takes timber. Much needed wicket comes by. It is the Nelson. And Joe will give it to you as far as the Nelson is concerned.
Oh, yes, the one arm, one leg, one something.
Yes.
And indeed, it has absolutely claimed yet another victim. Lendl Simmons gone too shy of a half-century on debut with the Silicon Valley Strikers. And AJ Amadi, the one finally able to get the breakthrough and end this partnership on triple ones.
Damage has already been done as far as Silicon Valley Strikers are concerned. They knew Lendl Simmons has answered above and beyond the call of duty. Out comes Shehan Jayasuriya.
Actually, I believe from what we heard from Bud, perhaps... No, that's definitely Shehan. That's not Gary.
That was support in general, not for the fact that he was walking out to bat. That would have woken up Gary for sure.
I just thought maybe because he was looking through the back of the sight screen, a little bit confused. Maybe it looked like there were some dreads there. I don't know. But I was about to say before the Lendl Simmons cannon shot earlier that Shehan Jayasuriya, probably one of the folks who's glad he's already got a cushion on that race for top scorer in minor league cricket, because I wasn't sure he was going to get a chance to bat today either. Very, very... underwhelming performance last time he was out. I know he'll be wanting to get a better feel for things going into the playoffs here.
Yeah, the first ball for Shehan Jayasuriya is just allowed to get a feel of what it is to be in the middle. Shehan Jayasuriya, the all-weather man for Silicon Valley Strikers. Loves the cut shot. Does well to put his body behind there. Basant Regmi.
Shehan here, most runs in the league this season, most 4s by 19 over Andres House, at least coming into the weekend, 6th most 6s, 8th in average, has the 4th highest individual score of the season and 5 times over 50. He has absolutely been the man of the year with bat in hand for these Silicon Valley Strikers.
We'll finish with a dot ball. Shehan Jayasuriya today inheriting another healthy scorecard. End of 13. 1-1.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So the camera person's up there.
Yeah, and then he's just muting.
Spin again from the Homestead end. As the first delivery here from Karan Varadia back into the attack. Allowed to fly by Unmukt Chand into the gloves of Ranatunga.
22 away from victory here. Silicon Valley Strikers, what would be a clinical victory if they get there in a canter? Unmukt Chand's decided to go the quieter route. Straight to Basant Regmi, who's been kept busy, especially when the spinners are in operation.
6 consecutive dots as Hollywood look to mount a little bit of pressure following the wicket of Lendl Simmons.
Unmukt Chand, after Lendl Simmons' departure, you could see that he's turned the gears down. It's a lovely blend of caution and aggression, just like the lovely blend of garam masala we have from Lakshmi House of Spices.
At 111 opening partnership, by the way, at number 5 in the season here in minor league cricket. Bested only by the Manhattan Yorkers 112, the Blazers 121, Stallions 126 not out, and the Somerset Cavaliers who went for 160 back on July 10th.
Is pushing for the first one. Unmukt Chand is one of the quickest, so if there is a second to be taken, he would have been off by now. The throw will arrive eventually, but a single would be complete by then, so no damage done, no drama here. Unmukt Chand wants to get this finished without any drama. He's had his share of pot boilers in this tournament.
Well, and heaven knows this last week with all the playoff spots on the line has been incredibly dramatic. And Michigan Cricket Stars taking the Central down to the last moment as Chand cuts that one to the boundary rope, but caught in the deep. And that'll be the end of the day for the captain.
He's got a lot of thinking to do as it's going to be a long walk back despite a tremendous innings. He knew that he could have got the job done on the cusp of what would be another clinical win for Silicon Valley Strikers. Unmukt Chand goes for glory, and in the deep, a simple catch to send the big fish back into the hut. The second time he's provided the opportunity, and this time Hollywood Master Blasters do not disappoint. 113 for 2, the Silicon Valley Strikers. Shehan Jayasuriya is still out there for Silicon Valley Strikers, would want to get the job done as quickly as possible. Karan Viradia does pick up the big wicket. It sort of begs the question, where was he hiding all this while? Just one over for him initially and then was taken away. It's taken out of the attack. A dot ball to finish the over. What is a successful over for Hollywood Master Blasters? 113 for 2, the Silicon Valley Strikers.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Balls, the equation under control for the men in blue. Silicon Valley Strikers are putting up a great show in front of their crowd, which is turned up in great numbers, to be very honest. The crowd was swarming in this cricket fest held at Santa Clara. They've been treated with some lovely cricket apart from delicious food. Catch it is the call. Will that be taken? Yes, it is. Is that the late flair that Hollywood Master Blasters are looking for? It's the big fish, Shehan Jayasuriya, departing without troubling the scorers much.
Indeed, we said last weekend when we were up in Morgan Hill that he was dismissed for the first time in single figures. This time around, dismissed for a single figure. Just one run to his name.
That could be a cause of concern with the big games coming up for Silicon Valley Strikers. Is the law of averages catching up with the big man? But what a good catch it was from, I think, Ravi Timbawala. Hands in the right position. It's so good inside the 30-yard circle as well.
Well, he's got the general mindset of a wicketkeeper. He's been back there with the gloves on a handful of times this season, either him or Ranatunga in that platoon, and certainly moved like one. in that moment, very quick laterally to cut off the path and snag it.
Given an opportunity, would want to have those gloves back on again, even if he's fielding, but that's not allowed. That would be penalty, 5 runs, remember.
Yeah, certainly that thing hard as a rock when it's coming at you at pace like that, and almost anything off the bat of Jayasuriya has got some oomph to it. 2 new batters at the crease. Zahid Zakhail at the non-striker's end, still waiting to face his first delivery.
And Rahul Jariwala has just walked in, surveying the field. 20 required in 5.4. If there is a twist in the tail, then Ajay Imadi can pick up a couple of wickets over here and then set the cat amongst the pigeons. That's exactly what Zakhail and Rahul Jariwala would not want.
Following a 111-run opening partnership, the strikers have now lost 3 for 2. Yeah, that's right. I had that right. I thought I had it backwards.
I tell you what, a wide delivery at this stage of the game, just when you're trying to apply more pressure, new man in will be feeling that the pressure is already vented. But that is very cheeky. The fielder does get around it. We'll keep it down to a single. That's a very good throw indeed at the base of the stumps. The keeper couldn't have asked for anything better.
Some excellent fielding out there, and Silicon Valley strikers starting to feel a little bit of the pressure. As we said, no season-long stakes in this match, but you want to finish strong. You want to go into the playoffs feeling like you can't be touched. And having Hollywood start to creep up on you a little bit could put some butterflies in the stomach going into the matchups with Chicago next week. Ajay Imadi just very effective so far. He's got he's got 2 of the 3 wickets. He and Baradia, Imadi into the attack for the first time, Baradia back into it. Don't usually see him as much in the middle overs, but, and for that matter, this is really uncharacteristic for Silicon Valley. This season, they've been averaging 41 runs per wicket between overs 7 and 15. Normally, this is where they build the big partnership and put a game away, and a bit of a surprising collapse here in the late going of that.
Very fine and very cheeky. Rahul will get the boundary that he deserved the last time as well. He's getting it done in great style here. Rahul Jariwala is walked out and is being held by some poor bowling. Ajay Imadi is suddenly bowling deliveries, which is buffet.
Final delivery to come here of the 15th over from Ajay Imadi, who, besides that 4, very economical and excellent strike bowling. That one worked to the vacant area at mid-wicket. Abdulahad Malik in from the boundary rope to claim it a single to finish off the over off the bat of Zahid Zakhail. 121 for 3. Into the death overs, and they may well be brief. 2022 Minor League Cricket. Title sponsor Toyota, presented by Sunoco, and brought to you with the help of our friends at DAFA News, sponsor of the Emerging Player of the Week, Rahul Jariwala, who pokes that one back to the backward 45 for a single, has received that award in the past. A lot of Bay Area players have been up for it. Vatsal Vaghela of Golden State, Sanjay Krishnamurthy of East Bay. Lots of really good young talent throughout the league, and particularly here in the Bay.
Oh, absolutely. It's good to see some spinners creeping in as well. Just tells you their efficacy in T20 format is so much on tracks of this kind.
Baradia staying on at the Homestead Avenue end. Gave up 2 and got a wicket in his last over. 2 already off him in this one as Zakhail works a single.
Yeah, within winning distance here with Zakhail and Rahul Jariwala, both of them very established batters. It's one of the beautiful things about 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco that you have cricketers from all around the world playing and rubbing shoulders with each other. Jariwala, a product of USA. He's played all his cricket in United States of America, and here is Zahid Zakil, who's got a lovely story to tell. All the way from Afghanistan, now calling USA his home. Gets to play his favorite sport, and boy, is he making a difference with the bat in hand.
Indeed, lured here as well by the stories of his countryman and friend Nawaz Khan, who we saw yesterday in the broadcast. Blazers getting the job done against the Master Blasters, although not fast enough as it turned out to get themselves into the playoffs. We do have all of those spots now locked in for next week's quarterfinal round action.
Jariwala was preparing for another scoop. You could almost say with the way he was trying to turn himself. But then there's so much of vacant area on the leg side that a single is just inevitable.
Runs to get now well into the single figures, just 7 more. To finish off what will be a 13-1 season for the Silicon Valley Strikers. Zakale feeling for that one, unable to make contact. Pretty tidy over from Karan Baradia, 5 singles from it, 126 for 3.
So
1, 2, 3.
...2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Ajay Imadi will continue from the commentary box end. As 7 runs required for Silicon Valley Strikers to pick up 2 more points. The points wouldn't be satiating them. It's the fact that they've got a great start in this game as well. A beautiful shot indeed. There's something about Rahul Jariwala's love affair with the backward square region.
Well, and add that to the list of shots we saw from Unmukt Chand earlier in the piece, from Lendl Simmons, a very healthy list of candidates for the DAFA News shot of the day.
Yeah, DAFA News is the place to go if you're a sports connoisseur, not just cricket, but all other sports as well in DAFA News. And do check out their feature of the week, which is a lovely piece indeed. I make sure that I do every week. This one kept a little low, but still was up for the task there. Rahul Jariwala, as he quietly puts it away for a single.
Just 2 more required to get the job done here.
We need that. A big thank you to the sponsors of Silicon Valley Strikers, the House of Spices. The authentic taste of traditional South Asian cuisine. Solidly defended this one.
Yep, no reason for any risk here, just 2 more runs. That one straight back over the bowler's head. That will get at least 1. They have no interest in coming back for a second. Ball fielded here from behind Ajay Amadi. Scores are level. Rahul Jariwala on strike looking for the game winner. The fielders will creep in all over the place to try to starve that for as long as they can.
Yeah, you could see Silicon Valley Strikers already up on their feet. A couple of them have also packed their bags for a longer party.
Good news being they don't have to go very far away. Winning your division means that you get to host in the first round. Chicago Tigers coming to town, 10 a.m., the start of Game 1, next Saturday at the Morgan Hill Outdoor Sports Center.
Wanted to be cheeky, but even a deft touch like that one would do. Waiting for the umpire signal if it's off the bat or no, but they'll celebrate nonetheless at Silicon Valley Strikers. Romp home with 7 wickets to spare and a lot more deliveries left in the tank.
Indeed, a fantastic performance, particularly from the top order. Unmukt Chand his sixth 50-plus score of the season. He's converted one of those into a century. This time around, out for 63 off 48. Lendl Simmons, 2 runs shy of a half century on debut. And Rahul Jariwala, a nice little cameo, 14 off of 8 in order to bring the Silicon Valley Strikers home to a record of 13-1. Again, a reminder of what's to come next weekend. We are going to have here in the Bay Area at the Morgan Hill Outdoor Sports Center, again, a best of 3 series, 2 games on Saturday and 1 on Sunday if necessary. That gets started at 10 a.m. Silicon Valley versus Chicago. The other series, if you're interested, Seattle Thunderbolts, we talked about winning the net run rate drag race to earn the right to a trip down to Dallas to face off with the Mustangs, another team that's lost just twice this season. Should be a really exciting series down there, regardless of who's going. Of course, those of us from the Bay Area might have preferred a slightly different result, but we'll live. As for the Atlantic Conference, New Jersey Stallions will host the Morrisville Raptors. The Atlanta Fire, champions of the Southeast Division, will be hosting the Manhattan Yorkers. That's what we've got coming up. We'll go ahead and close things out here. Suhas, any final comments?
Oh, it's been a tremendous game of cricket, that's for sure. Well contested. And just love the fact that Hollywood Master Blasters did turn up. It wasn't the yesterday's performance that they reflected. Today was a different day, and so often cricket teaches you that if you put your best, you could be the best. Unfortunately, coming second because they didn't pick up the catches at the right time, and Unmukh Chand and Lendl Simmons made them pay every single time that was in the arc thereafter. Fantastic performance from Unmukh Chand, and Lendl Simmons has been a great experiment indeed up top.
Indeed. Easy to forget those 2 early drop catches, and could have been a very, very different game, especially with what we saw out of the secondary batters and the little mini collapse there in overs 12 through 15. But the Strikers, championship pedigree, they get it done. Well, again, Suhas, thank you for being with us today.
Pleasure, Joe.
And for our production staff, Bud Jadabans at the controls, and Andrew Grindle up in the stratosphere with the camera work. This is Joe Hickey, hoping you'll join us again next week for the playoffs in 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket presented by Sunoco.
Yes.
taking on Hollywood Master Blasters, and in the end, the Strikers ensuring they pick up a clinical win. A huge round of applause to both the teams for the spirit in which this game was played. Absolutely magnificent to watch. Something we pride in the Cricket Championship. Let me quickly introduce you to the post-match presentation party. We have with us Mr. Murali Srinivasan, running for Sunnyvale City Council. Mr. Murali Srinivasan, lovely composer of cricket. Thank you very much, sir, for being here. It's time now to talk to Cody Chetty first time. Yeah, well, you did win the toss, and I think first would be the best option.
I just don't think it's great enough. It's often tough for the bowlers to defend on a good track. It did keep low, but nothing too dangerous. I just found we were 25 runs too short.
25 runs, you say. But what about the whip shot that it before it was?
Yeah, it just happens naturally. I don't try and play it. It just happens naturally. So.
Is it a matter of one more partnership? And when you look at it,
yeah, I mean, we can obviously nitpick certain moments where we could have played better, but I think as a whole we need to be better as a team.
And finally, it's this tournament for you, something you've learned and you want to apply it right away?
Yeah, I think we just need to obviously get together as a team, what we need to do, what we did wrong, what we did right to move forward.
Hard luck. It's decent.
Thank you.
Hollywood Master Blaster skipper Cody. Can we have the winning captain on the mic, Odin Chand? Congratulations, Unmuk. Would you call this clinical, or would you say we should have finished it up with 10 wickets in the bank?
It's fine. I think we did a great job. It would have been nice to finish with 10 wickets, but I take it. It's good, and I think it's a good setup for the knockouts. So looking forward to that.
Sometimes I feel as Chand, you don't know who's going to open the batting with you. But if
well, as far as it's going well, I don't mind talking about it. It's happening, so let it happen. I don't want to jinx it, so it's good. Whoever goes in and is performing, so that's a good sign. Our team is doing really well. Whoever is getting the opportunity is really stepping up and doing well. So that's a great thing to have.
When you looked at 130 odd, what were you telling the boys in the half frame?
I think we were in control. The way I think we were getting regular wickets, and as I told you before the match also, we're happy to restrict less than 130, which we were able to. So it was a good effort. I think we bowled really well, and so did the others as well. And I think it was pretty good with the bat. Coming the first game and getting those runs is something very good for us, and we really look forward to the next game.
And you work the crowd,
but it's been amazing. I really loved and enjoyed the support. It's the first time I've seen these many people in USA together, and it's really good. And I hope that many people can turn up for these games, and we can have a better support. And obviously, cricket is growing in this country, so we need the support of all the people around. And it's great to have such a nice audience cheering.
Very well played yourself. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Unmuk, the winning skipper. I request Mr. Murali to the player win the game for. He could to try to stop the ball too, and he was not stopping. There was no stopping, but he had the ball in hand, of course. 4 for 24, magical figures indeed. This particular game.
I think just started out.
Just like the yeah. Sacked.
One of one from the wicket. So that's not
You've been working on that?
Yeah, I tried based on.
That's what it means. for you from the presentation.
Profile league, he's been in it. Works that one neatly with the open bat. Just fine of Ravi Timbawala, and that'll run to the boundary for a 4. That is classy.
Good to see its experience coming to the fore, slowing things down. But that's in the gap, and Lendl Simmons, save your legs. Whenever it's in the gap, it's destined to go for 4 because it was cracked.
Zakhail there to take the initiative, maybe feeling like it falls to him. Again, Lendl Simmons maybe more in that Zakhail mode. This one cut away and will just beat the man at deep cover for a boundary. And on the onside, inside the circle, instead of out in the deep.
Catch it is the call. Will this be taken? Another opportunity gone begging. Oh, that is hooked away in style. That'll sail away. No stopping that. And whosoever. That's why a bouncer is supposedly used in the second or third ball. Oh, that's hit really well. Will go further away from Ronald's outstretched hands.
Ball of the over here to the captain on strike. Frees the hands. Looks to pull this wide of the man at long on. AJ Amadi, it's a foot race to the boundary.
Able to punch one through the offside to get another boundary. Ronald Patel gets a change of ends. Inside out. This could be taken only if the fielder in the deep were taller. Run in the second half as well. But what was heartwarming to see that even if Unmukt Chand didn't score, which is not the case on this occasion, what a good shot. Again, full-fledged.
2 off 34 balls.
That's got height. That's got distance. It's got all the ingredients if you're cooking up a 6. Longest of the day from Unmukt Chand's bat.
Quite the fun partnership. 2 batters that can easily change their plans of attack. Lendl Simmons into the pavilions. Chand on 49. And that one worked to the onside and brings up the half century for the captain here on the stroke of the 10th over.
Well, it's been a delicious half century indeed, much like Lakshmi's many products half done at the halfway stage. 79 for no loss, the strikers. Reach the half century, let him know with the decimal. Jariwala's best bet was to pick up a single and watch Chand go bonkers. Oh, what a good shot this one is. Long gone was just a spectator. That was bludgeoned straight down the ground. This will give them a world of confidence, this new partnership too. Cheeky, but Unmukt Chand at his best will leave no part of the ground unexplored. As Unmukt Chand is playing a shot perhaps the kids' coaches would not like, but the kids really wanting to play that shot again. That'll be another boundary to a new area. The kids have decided to run to that one. What? Lendl Simmons. Oh, with a shot of this kind, no half measures yet again, will put it into the crowd.
Now that he's not in need of runs to achieve the... Oh, we'll talk about that in a second. Wow! What a drive from Lendl Simmons.
Is that we've seen, it is about 60 yards. Oh, that's gone. Goes for glory once again. Ajay Imadi takes timber. Much needed wicket comes by. It is the Nelson. And Joe will give it to you as far as the Nelson is concerned.
Has been incredibly dramatic. And Michigan Cricket Stars taking the central down to the last moment as Chand cuts that one to the boundary rope, but caught in the deep. And that'll be the end of the day for the captain.
They've been treated with some lovely cricket apart from delicious food. Catch it is the call. Will that be taken? Yes, it is. Is that the late flair that Hollywood Master Blasters are looking for? It's the big fish, Shehan Jayasuriya.
Away, and a bit of a surprising collapse here in the late going of that.
Very fine and very cheeky. Rahul will get the boundary that he deserved the last time as well. They've got a great start in this game as well.
Oh, beautiful shot indeed. There's something about Rahul Jariwala's love affair with the backward square region.
Outdoor Sports Center.
Wanted to be cheeky, but even a deft touch like that one would do. Waiting for the umpire signal if it's off the bat or no, but they'll celebrate nonetheless at Silicon Valley Strikers. Romp home with 7 wickets to spare and a lot more deliveries left.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.